Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Happy Sunday morning to everyone out there in Love Wrestling. You know what time it is. It's that time every Sunday. My man Drew, myself, we are here for another edition of Firmly AEW, where we have 3 shows to get into because last night they did the super,
Oh God.
collision and Battle of the Belts. Next week we're getting a 3-hour Saturday night as well before the pay-per-view. They're doing Rampage right after Collision, then we get the pay-per-view on Sunday. My God,
we have a lot of shit next week for sure.
Yeah.
But
we
the
got a
thing
lot of
about
stuff.
the thing about this week is I just realized now, man, I'm gonna do a lot of ranting today.
It's fair.
Because I already forgot that Battle of the Belts was last night.
I actually thought this was one of the best Battle of the Belts that they've had in a while. Nothing important mattered, which is still a problem. But from an in-ring perspective, I actually enjoyed this Battle of
Well,
the Belts.
so yeah, the
I enjoyed
in-ring,
seeing Athena. I was happy to see Athena on my
yes,
television screen because
it
I don't watch
was
Ring
like,
of Honor. I don't watch Ring of Honor,
and
so I was very happy to see Athena get a promo on Collision
yeah,
and actually be involved in a match because they have every other Ring of Honor champion on my TV weekly, it seems like. But Athena, who's the best of all of them, has been trapped away in this Ring of Honor bubble. She's the only one they don't let out of that bubble, even though she's the best champion in the company. But last night, we luckily, at least someone like me who doesn't buy Honor Club, who doesn't watch Ring of Honor, I at least got to see Athena, who you can make an argument has been the best women's wrestler on the planet for the last year and a half. I finally got to see her in a match, which was nice.
yeah.
Anyway,
That
that was
part,
my rant of the day because I'm gonna let Drew rant because I'm not going to be ranting that much about the stuff that Drew's ranting about, but that was my rant of the day that I was happy to see Athena.
that part of Battle of the Belts was great. So
Yeah.
I totally agree with you because and I also agree she is the best Ring of Honor champion.
She is. She's been the best. You can make an argument she's been the best
Billy
champion in the
Starks is already the
AEW
second
Ring of
best
Honor. Yeah.
Ring of Honor champion just in the few short weeks that she's been TV champion, women's TV champion. So good for her. I'm glad that they introduced the women's TV title. But yeah, so we'll save that for when we get to it because there's a lot today. There's a lot.
So yeah, we'll be talking through Dynamite, talking through Collision, talking a little bit about Battle of the Belts. And then,
Let's start with Collision.
Okay, you want to start with Collision? Okay, we'll start with Collision this week, and then we'll go Battle of the Belts, and then we'll cycle back to Dynamite.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you were on my Twitter yesterday and I tweeted a very important message about how today is the final day that we're going to be talking about a specific segment, and thank God,
is it though?
God Almighty,
Is it the final day?
Oh, it's the final day.
Knowing the internet wrestling community and knowing everything that AEW has shown and things like that, is this really the final day that this will be talked and mentioned about?
Drew Nicholas will be talking about it. It might not be the final day JPJ talks about it, but it's the final day that Drew Nicholas talks about it. And I have people that need to be addressed for their really stupid comments and really stupid things that they've done. And yeah, so the main event of today's program is the All-In footage. So you're going to want to stick around for that.
Yes. Drew has some things to say. I talked a little bit about it on Between Two Beards, and I thought it was a giant nothing burger. I thought nothing came out of it, and I'll probably stick to that. Like, literally, They did what they did. They could have not done what they did, and it would have mattered the same to me because I did not give one single crap about that footage that I saw. I was like, whoop-de friggin' do. Just prove, like, okay, so everything CM Punk said was true, except a little exaggeration here or there. That literally he told you what happened, and you watch the video, and exactly what he said happened basically happened. There was no damning. It wasn't like it was so, a little bit exaggerated. He's going to exaggerate it in his way to protect him. Duh. That's how humans work. Oh, I'm telling my side of the story. I'm going to tell it that it's 90% accurate. And then there's a little bit of dramatization that makes me look good. Because I want to look good out of this because it's me. That's how humans work. And you see the video and it's like, okay, if you're showing this video, you better have something damning against CM Punk. Because why would you be showing this video unless he just blatantly lied about everything? And then all of a sudden they showed the video, and guess what? He didn't lie about everything. It happened basically the exact way he said it did. So what the hell was the point of the video? But anyway, we'll get there. So yeah, that was my rant. I'm gonna let you have the end of the show. But I'm just, you know how it works, Drew. You know how it works with the internet. Like, things happen and people make that video didn't do shit. That video did not matter on Wednesday. Did not change an opinion of anything. Literally.
We're going to get to that. That's for sure. Opinions.
You got
people's opinions and
people
how
fucking. You got the CM.
I did it. That's fine.
You know what?
We
shouldn't be getting that angry over, because it's literally stupid. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. But like, it's like, you got the CM Punk people coming out going, "Oh, look at Jack Perry, who's a jerk. Oh, hey, CM Punk was right."
Let's put a pin on it.
I can't. I mean, it's literally the title of the show. I don't think we should probably wait till the end to talk about it.
Well, okay, fine. Then we're going to talk about it now. Okay. It's not the main event. You know what? In WWE, the opening match is also
the opening
main event.
is sorry, I just went off on a rant. I was like, oh, I don't know.
Okay, so here we go. So yeah, so
should we wait 3? Happened. Well, I mean, we already dropped an F-bomb, but should we wait 3 minutes? Should I play it up? What should we do? Oh, no, I'm kidding. It's a joke.
Well, yeah, but I already screwed up. My apologies on there.
All right. This is how this show is sometimes.
That was actually why I wanted to make it the main event of the show.
Yeah, because we didn't want to swear in the first 10 minutes, but Drew slipped up, so it is what it is. We're just going to get into it now. But we were talking a few minutes before the show, and we're like, how are we doing this? Because obviously the thing happened in the middle of Dynamite. It is the talking point of AEW this week. It is the, our pinned picture for this show was CM Punk and Jack Perry. The name of the show is called The Footage. Like, that's the highlight of the, So, it is one of those things. But we are going to talk about these shows as a whole. But obviously the big news of the week for AEW is about halfway through Dynamite. We saw our EVPs.
That's an excellent. I just went on Twitter on YouTube now.
Yeah.
And I just saw what the image for the show is.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah.
And that
is Jack Perry. It's fantastic.
Effing hilarious.
Yeah.
That is one of the greatest things that our friend Zach.
Yeah. And then Chris Hero just in the background, like being a good guy. Like, what the hell did I just see?
I did not see that until just now. And that is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so good. That's why I was like, oh, all right. We got George. We got Scott George in the chat saying, good morning. Good morning, sir. You haven't missed much. I went off on a little mini tangent, but we're about to dive into the news of the week. We can still, when we start talking about the shows, obviously we'll skip this portion of Dynamite because we're going to get into it now because it is the topic of the week.
Right.
But let us know what you think in the chat. I kind of already said how I feel about it, and Drew has receipts and Drew has names, and Drew wants to lean into this because he's feeling a certain way. It is the last time he said he will address it. Hopefully it's the last time we all get to talk about it, because again, like, that was the thing for me.
I mean, is it really going to be the last time? I don't know.
No,
I'm saying
I don't think so.
Because God help me if I have to talk about this next week.
Well, for me, right? The way AEW handled this on Wednesday. Now, people have critiqued Tony Khan for doing a bunch of stuff, right? AEW has been in this place of damned if you do, damned if you don't, I feel like, for a long time, where They do something and they're just criticized and they're looked at with a magnifying glass more than anything. They do something everybody likes. Half the people are like, whoa, because guess what happened? If CM Punk does that interview a couple Mondays ago, right? And AEW never addresses it, never talks about it. Half of the wrestling community is going to be like, well, why won't show the footage? Why won't you talk about it? Blah blah blah. You let CM Punk talk about this, blah 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 blah, and they would have never heard the end of it. So then they decide to do what they do, which in my opinion was dumb, but they decide to do what they're going to do. And now you have half the world going like me. Oh, that was stupid. Why did they do that? This is the finger poke of doom. This is the death of AEW. This is all that. This is all that. And I'm like, I'm sitting here going like 6 months from now, none of us are going to remember that they even showed that friggin' thing. Who gives a
Well,
shit? Some of
I
us
don't
will.
know if I'd go
Some
that
people
far.
will. Well, some people will, but like I don't view those people as real people. Those are not real people to me.
Oh, no. Those people that I am dressing to. So I definitely it's, yeah, like,
But
uh, I oh, we're after the 10 well, not that it matters
no, it
anymore,
doesn't
but
matter anymore. But yeah, like they showed the footage, they worked it into an angle against FTR.
which I
Okay.
appreciated.
Yeah, that's
They didn't
fine.
just show it to be so this is what I was worried about, okay? Before I get into my ranting stuff. I was worried that this was just going to be Matt and Nick Jackson sitting in front. I didn't know if they so at first I was like, "Okay, is it just gonna be them?" I thought maybe it was gonna do a funny thing. Like, I thought actually what would have been funny if they didn't do it to work in an angle was to do it like a Dark Side of the Ring segment
That would have been funny. That would have been funny.
with Chris Jericho narrating and,
That
like,
would
the
have been yeah.
whole
See, now that would have been like clever, and that would have been yeah.
that was my first thought. Then I was like, "Uh-oh, what if they just try to do this like Punk did with Helwani and
Mm,
just, like, have a sit down thing and have this make no sense to be talking about at this point, other than just to stroke their own egos and get their side of the story on a thing that they weren't even directly involved in, because it shouldn't be Matt and Nick sitting down talking about this. It should be Jack Perry sitting down talking about this."
mhm,
So, that was my other worry, that it was gonna be like some ego stroking thing of theirs to and not as EVPs, as actually Matt and Nick, the people.
mhm.
No character stuff, just like
Yeah.
a shoot interview style thing. I was like, "That doesn't make any sense to do at all." But for what it was it necessary? No.
Mm-mm.
This is the point of what it was, because you asked, like, there was literally no point to doing
It
it.
did just seem like it was just petty.
This They did it for a purpose, at least, which is like, okay, you if you're gonna show it, let it mean something.
Mm,
Don't just show it and be like, "Oh, see, this is what Punk did. He lied about what he said, blah blah." Like all that. It's like because that's how shoot I thought it was gonna get,
mm.
and it didn't get that way.
No.
So the purpose, or more than one purpose for showing this, was one, boost the ratings
Of course.
because
That's
everyone
what
wanted to see that footage.
yeah, that's why I was so hell bent about it, because to me, I was like, that was just a ratings grab because it literally did nothing for me.
So well, I mean, if you saw the ratings, it also kind of didn't do that
Yeah,
much
that's what I'm yeah, it just
either.
seemed yeah, it was very bizarre.
Um, so that was one purpose. Another purpose, it was I don't want to say clever, but it was a decent way to show reason for showing the footage, which
Mhm,
was we've been in a battle with FTR for a while now.
mhm,
During All In, our biggest show of the year, we were gonna have a title match with them. But because of what happened, which was what we're showing you right now, we lost the match.
Mm.
And then I did actually think it was funny that they sort of like, "Oh, did FTR orchestrate this whole
Mm.
thing?" I thought that
Unbelievable.
was actually funny. I was like, "Okay, that's yeah, that's
Yeah.
funny to be like, oh yeah, FTR made CM Punk attack Jack Perry so that this way we'd have to be off doing EVP stuff
Yeah.
when we're
And dealing
supposed
with
to
it.
be preparing for our match."
Yeah.
Like, okay, I like that. That was funny. Um, and then the third purpose, which I think was the biggest of three, if you watched Windy City Riot on Friday and leading up to Windy City Riot, New Japan of America's show,
Yeah.
Jack Perry
Has been on there.
benefited from this.
Oh, yeah.
His merch sold out. The reaction that he got on that show was pretty pretty up there, top
Mhm.
tier
Yeah.
for a heel reaction, and it was not something that I have ever seen from an entrance of Jack Perry's or a match of Jack Perry's before.
Yeah.
He came out with the Chicago flag. He had "Cry Me a River" on the back of his
Yeah.
jacket.
Yeah. I saw
He
that.
he
I
did
saw
the
that.
high knee in the corner.
Yeah.
He was
And
gonna
he
do
did
the
the
go to sleep. I mean, and it worked. The crowd
yeah.
ate it up. And that is what you want from something like this being
Yeah.
shown.
Mhm.
So in by the metrics of AEW's business, did it succeed? Possibly not. I can't say definitely not, because while it did not get them to 1,000,000 in the ratings, it didn't hurt their ratings from
No.
the week prior.
No, no, no.
If it hurt
We'll
their
have to
ratings from the week prior, I would say definitely it wasn't
yeah.
a
And I
success.
guess we have to see how it affects their ratings moving forward. They have a pay-per-view next week, so that go home show probably will, because again, you saw once this happens, you see the banter on social media, and I know you're not done, you're going to keep going,
Uh-huh.
but you see the banter on social media, and there were a good amount of people that said, "Oh, this turned me off of AEW. This is petty. This is the finger." I literally heard people saying this is the finger poke of doom for AEW. This is the end. This is the start of the death of AEW. And I'm sitting there going, they're going to sign $1 billion TV rights deal by the end of this year, probably by the end of the summer, most likely. Like they're going to announce that. And all you fucking whiny babies that have been praying for the death of this company for 3 fucking years because you're losers are going to be sitting there going, when they're going to be on TV for the next 5 years and on HBO Max probably. And they have 10 pay-per-views a year now. Like what? Like it's just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So it to put a pin on with the footage part of this at least. No, it did not need to be shown, really. It didn't really need to be shown,
Mm-hmm.
but it did help Jack Perry.
And I think that's the only person that probably will and can really benefit from this, if I would have to guess. But again, and we talked about it before, New Japan is cool. New Japan USA that they're doing and all that stuff is cool. John Moxley won the world title, which we'll get into. Like it was cool. It was cool. But I don't think Jungle Boy Jack Perry is going to benefit until he's back on he needs to be back on the AEW
Right, yeah.
TV. Like that, he needs to be back in AEW as this character. Now, I do hope there's a way that you kind of have him keep being this character, but you kind of remove the CM Punk side of it. Like, I get that CM Punk is the reason why all this has happened, but like, I don't, and they were just in Chicago on Windy City Riot, obviously. So, like, he leaned into it a lot more because they were in Chicago. Obviously, you're gonna do that. I want to see Jack Perry remain this character, but I don't want the whole shtick to be anti CM Punk. Like I don't want the go to sleep every match. I don't want the
Right.
continuous references to Cry Me a River or things like I don't just be this character, build off of the good standing that you got. Because I do think if anybody comes out positive on this, it will be Jack Perry. Um,
Yeah. Well,
but
I mean, and judging from, like I said, judging from Friday, it seems like it did, which is
mhm,
good. And what I think, from what you just said, also, I think what may be the a benefit because he lost that match. He
yes, he
didn't
did.
win that match,
Yeah.
and what it should hopefully what it plays into is that he was eating up the reaction from the crowd by doing all the CM Punk stuff too much,
Mhm.
and that was the cost. That was what cost him the match.
Yeah. We got
That should be why he lost the match.
Scott in the chat
That
saying he
should
should
also
toss
happen.
FTR the titles at the pay-per-view next week. That'd be
That
something.
should also happen.
And then imagine he joined the new elite and it was Jungle Boy, Okada, and the Bucks
It's
were kind of this
it
new elite
seems
kind of thing.
that, I mean, because they've been even before, remember 2 weeks ago
Mhm.
on Dynamite, or was
Yeah.
it last? No, it was last week on Dynamite. They shouted him out while
Yes,
they
they
were
did.
walking down to the ring.
They did.
They said, like,
Sure
"We
did.
miss you, scapegoat," or something. He said scapegoat was referenced. I don't remember
Yep.
exactly what the line was.
Yep.
So, you could also argue that they didn't do the footage as a direct shot at Punk talking to Helwani, because if they did, they should have shown the footage that day, not a
Yeah.
week later.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a
And
Dynamite 2 days after it happened. You could have immediately been like, we're doing
right,
this, you know?
because if Tony Khan really had been wanting to show the footage for forever, that was like, "Oh, you know what? Right here. Here we
Yeah.
go. Here's the footage."
Yeah.
And I would say the ratings probably would have went up more had
Mhm.
they did it 2 days later versus a week later.
Yep.
Um, but that would have been the time to show the footage for sure. It's like, "Oh,
100%.
oh yeah, you're gonna talk about this? Well, here we go. Here's directly what you talked about."
Mhm.
WrestleMania week was showing the all-in footage. Um, so should it that so it seems like they have been playing up for the past week, 2 weeks, that the Bucks and Jack Perry are gonna align,
Mm.
and even in the segment, where they were showing the footage, Matt
Yeah.
Jackson was wearing a scapegoat shirt.
Yes, he was. I saw that.
So, it seems like they're clearly building to Jack Perry joining the Elite,
Mm.
which I don't hate.
I don't hate that either. I don't hate it either.
So, it's it's going to benefit Jack Perry, which it
Mhm.
already has. As I said, it's been shown that it's benefiting Jack Perry.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Now, I do hope also, like you, that every single match of his is not a CM Punk tribute.
Yeah, no, you gotta find a way to maintain this story, maintain this character, but remove the CM Punk references, the CM you gotta separate yourselves from it because it's never
Yeah,
really gonna go away if you don't. It's never really gonna go away if you don't. And from this point on, you showed the footage. The focus needs to be on Jack Perry. And the focus needs to be on the Young Bucks. And like the focus needs to be removed from CM Punk now. You showed the footage, it's out there, everybody's seen it. That's over with now. CM Punk is gone. See you later. So now benefit from it, do what you're doing, and run with it. But run with it with that guy. Go. He's out. He's not in the company anymore. You don't need to talk about him anymore. Period. End of
right.
story. Just
And
go with it.
and then the interesting thing too was everyone said, "Oh, well, you know what?" In the crowd while they were showing that segment, there were CM Punk chants. And then when the Young Bucks came out a little later, there were CM Punk chants on TV.
Mm,
There were no CM Punk chants on Saturday.
nope.
There were no CM Punk chants on Friday. There were the 3-hour live show last night. Not one time was CM Punk mentioned by the crowd or by anybody, but
Yeah.
the because even the Bucks strategically did not mention Punk's name while talking about the footage.
Mhm.
So Punk's name has not been said since the crowd chanted briefly, and it wasn't even like it was a loud Chicago style CM Punk chant when they
Yeah.
came out. Because everyone's trying to play this up now of like, oh, well, CM Punk is now the most over person in the company again. I don't know if that's true. That's one of those talking points that all the fucking dumbasses are like, "Oh, CM Punk is over in 2 companies, blah, 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 blah." Um, if CM Punk was over, and if the CM Punk chants were gonna be directed at Tony Khan or AEW as a whole as a result of showing that footage, last night's show would have been peppered with CM Punk chants, and not one time did it happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, to say that CM Punk is over still in AEW, it's a bit of a reach.
Oh, yeah. Those are but, like, again, and I consider myself a fan of CM Punk still,
Me too.
but
Absolutely.
those are CM Punk fans that are gonna like, I saw and this is somebody I like, I'm not gonna name him, but I saw somebody on Twitter the second after that footage was done, he quote tweeted the video that AEW released on Twitter whenever they released it a few minutes after, and he was like, "See, Jack Perry is a no respect, blah 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 piece of shit." And I'm like, "What about that video? What about that video showed Jack Perry being a piece of shit?" Jack Perry walked to the back. CM Punk confronted him. They were clearly talking for a minute. You can't tell what was said. Punk says that Jack Perry said, "You got a problem, do something about it." And if he said that, Punk did something about it. Like that again, that video, everyone knew that CM Punk is a dick. Everyone knows that CM Punk's a dick. Okay? Now, since he's been back in WWE, seems to be happier. Everyone's saying he's really happy, he's helping around. We've heard that before. Let's talk about it in a year. See where it's at in a year. But everybody knows that CM Punk isn't easy to get along with all the time. That's not that's not new. That is not a new thing if you've been a wrestling fan for a couple years, a decade, however long. You know that CM Punk is not a great guy to get around with sometimes, to get along with. But like, yeah, you're gonna have those CM Punk fans that like, no matter what CM Punk does, it's gonna be they could witness CM Punk commit a crime and they'd be like, "Oh my god, you see that person do that to Punk?" It's like, what the hell are you talking about, man?
But there
What are
I
you
mean,
talking about?
it kinda even goes beyond that too, because, like, so I was on a show afterwards and talked
Hmm.
about it
This is on Wednesday, like fresh on
on
Wednesday after
Wednesday,
the show.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I did agree with the sentiment of some people where it would harm AEW because in the moment, you're talking to a bunch of people who think the
Yeah.
same,
Mm.
and you're seeing the reaction on Twitter, and it's like, okay, well, obviously this is not gonna go very well for them. But then you take a couple of days, you see the reaction that Jack Perry got on Friday. It's like, okay, it's I don't feel as negatively about it as I did on Wednesday night,
Yeah. That's fair.
4 days later.
I think in the moment it felt like for me, it felt like this is unnecessary. That's just kind of what it felt like to me in the moment.
The biggest problem when stuff like this happens is that the toxicity of professional wrestling fans comes in full force.
Mm.
Like, just really, like, it's people going and specifically seeking out people who talk positively about AEW and just needling them and needling them and needling them and needling them and going in so like so here we go. All right. So I was watching Wrestle Talks review with Ollie and
Mhm.
Luke, And Luke Owen is more of an AEW guy.
Yeah,
And he's talking about he's saying this was a lose-lose and
I
shouldn't have
agree.
been done. Luke Owen, more positive about AEW,
Yeah,
says this
the
was
lose lose.
lose-lose for
Yeah.
AEW and
Hmm.
should not have been done. And literally, as he is talking about how wrong this was for AEW to do, the chat on Wrestle Talk is
Shill. They're calling the
calling him
company
an
shill. Yeah.
AEW shill.
Yeah, shill. Of course.
Calling
You're an
him an
AEW
AEW
shill.
shill, doing damage control, saying, "What's happening, man? This is such a reach. You look like a fool." I'm taking literal quotes. These are literal quotes from the chat of Wrestle Talk's Dynamite review. Okay. How much did TK pay you?
Yeah.
This is literal quotes from a guy, literally as he's saying that this was bad. And this is what it is. This goes to show you that everyone, even before this footage was shown, made up their minds about
Yeah, I
it.
was gonna say their opinions were already made beforehand. If you're a CM Punk guy, your opinion was your opinions were already made before we actually saw what happened.
As a result, already formulated their own narratives
Yeah.
about how they were going to go after people who they perceive are pro AEW.
Hmm.
And because Luke on Wrestle Talk is a pro AEW guy,
Yeah.
therefore now they are going to needle him with bullet point after bullet point after bullet point of phrases and sentences that they've already said, I'm going to go on Thursday morning's Wrestle Talk review of Dynamite and say, because that's what I perceive Luke Owen to be. He's an AEW shill. He's going to get
Yep.
paid by Tony Khan to say these things. So it doesn't matter that he's saying, oh, this is bad,
Hmm.
because he's an AEW shill.
Yeah, they're not even listening to him saying this is bad.
Right.
They're not even, and listen, obviously we come on here once a week, you and I, Drew. And we do other shows. You do multiple shows a week. I do multiple shows a week. We come on here because we like talking about AEW and we like talking about the things that we talk about. And I know you're getting back into WWE and you're talking about that on other things. Like, we love pro wrestling, and part of loving pro wrestling is being able to enjoy it with like other fans and things like that. Like,
Right.
you know, but it is no secret, and you can hear us talk about it often. You can see the people bigger in this space, the SRSs, the Denises, the Phil Lindsays, all these people. We all know that the thing that ruins wrestling for most of us the most is not the fucking show. It's not okay, bad booking here or there. Who gives a shit? Like, there are stupid decisions from the main thing that ruins this space for other people are the wrestling fans, because there are just terrible people. There's terrible people in all facets. I'm sure big time Star Wars fans have a whole legion of their fans that are shitheads, right? Like,
Right.
this, it's not like this only happens in wrestling, but it's usually other people that ruin things for people. It's not usually the thing itself. It's the other people. And we've been doing this for so long with wrestling, where it's like, man, these wrestling fans, half of us suck. It's just brutal.
Oh
And
no, it's
it's bad. And like, I knew, and I'm sure you did, I knew once they announced they were doing this footage, I wasn't like, oh, great, I got to watch this footage. Like, I wasn't upset that they were releasing the footage. I wasn't upset at all. But like, I wasn't like, oh, great, here we go. Because of the footage being released, I was, oh, great, here we go. Because I knew there'd be a whole legion of fucking clowns showing up on all the things that I like. I like to scroll through Twitter and see other people's opinions during wrestling shows, see if anybody's enjoying what I'm enjoying, putting my opinion out there. That's part of the fun for me when I watch these shows from my house and I'm not there live. But I knew the second that this was released, there were going to be these fucking bums coming out of the bushes and out of their parents' basements going, oh, no, and typing all their shit away. and you're a fucking loser. I don't care about your opinion. And
Yeah,
that's
it's
what bothers me. And
so
like,
you mentioned Phil Lindsay.
great individual. Great individual.
He's a wonderful person. I've had
Yes.
the pleasure of being on a couple of podcasts with him.
Same. He's been on Beards a few times. A great dude.
Yes. Um, some would say pretty pro AEW,
I would agree.
which I
Pro CM Punk from Chicago as
pro
well.
CM Punk.
Phil Lindsay. Yeah.
But even as a CM Punk guy, he went on Twitter, and I have the exact tweets because I just had to share this interaction that he had because
Mhm.
God, he got on Twitter and said Jack is no victim. Going out there and saying real glass Crimea River was a premeditated act.
100%.
Punk was wrong for putting his hands on him. He said that in a
Mhm.
tweet
Yeah.
and said, while I do agree because it started the whole thing where Jack
Yeah.
went on live TV and said,
Mhm.
"Cry me a river, real glass,
Correct.
cry me a river." So it
Yeah.
started the whole interaction that day. Now, somebody responded to him
Mhm.
and said, "Reminder that Jack absolutely did not start it. No, he shouldn't have done it, but it wasn't some unprovoked comment. It was a direct response to one of Punk's actions that adversely affected him." To which Phil responded, "Oh my God, it doesn't matter if it wasn't an unprovoked comment. He chose the absolute worst time to dredge it back up and created an unnecessary situation. It's okay to say he was wrong for that."
Yeah. It's okay to say they were both wrong. Like
And the person, oh, well, yeah. And then this person comes back and says, "But the response to it was completely disproportionate. Yes, there is value in accepting both did wrong, but too many people act like the blame is even. It's one of the most intellectually dishonest parts of all of this." To which, once again, Phil says, "I specifically said both were wrong.
literally.
I did not pick one side or the other. I
Yeah.
said both were wrong." And then this person comes back and
Well, they're not
says,
gonna stop. They're not gonna stop.
"One significantly more than the other. You also specifically said Jack started it." Because,
'Cause he did.
again, like I mentioned with Luke on Wrestle Talk, they've got the bullet point,
Yeah.
and that's the only thing that they can say because nothing that you respond with is going to make
Doesn't
them
matter.
change their minds.
No. And that's
Nothing.
how it is in the world right now, right? Like this is not right now we're talking about an issue that is wrestling related, but that's how people operate in the world
Yeah,
now. This
absolutely.
is what I believe. You can give me facts, you can give me things, you can give me all these things to show me that I am wrong or I am looking at this in the wrong way, and I do not care because this is what I believe, so this is true.
Right.
That's it.
And of course, like the shots taken last week by many people, because because other people like to say, "Oh, well, this just came out of nowhere. This footage came out of nowhere." Well, that's not true either. Because
No.
if you want to talk about one side starting it,
They could have showed the footage the week after it happened, Drew, if they
yeah,
wanted to. They could have literally been like, "We're showing you what happened on Sunday, right now, this Wednesday after, between All In and All Out. We're doing it."
yeah,
They could have.
absolutely.
Yeah. But they waited what?
7 months.
A year and a half? Yes, 8 months, whatever. Yeah. However long it was, 8 months, 9 months, whatever they could have
Yeah,
shown that footage that night if they wanted to. They could have.
right. So this is because CM Punk went on an interview and talked about this. So it's funny that
Mhm.
that guy is saying, "Oh, well, significantly one side," but I bet you that they probably wouldn't agree with,
No.
"Oh, well, no, this was AEW just drudging it back up again out of nowhere." Because if we're talking, it wasn't just Punk last week. Triple H took shots. Pat McAfee took shots. You know, Will Ospreay did, which we'll talk
Answered
about
back. We'll
that a
talk
little
about,
bit.
yeah, but he answered,
You
yeah,
know,
but you're
if
right.
and
Triple H,
but if
yeah.
any of these people took shots, the Bucks, FTR, Drew McIntyre, Tony Khan himself, and like you said, none of that stuff will lead to the downfall of the company that these people
No,
hate.
no.
Because the only thing that harms professional wrestling in 2024 are professional wrestling fans.
Yeah.
It's not, people, it's the people who do not get paid by the company they show for, that are not making a dime off of the ratings, off of the media rights deals, off of the merchandise sold.
Mhm.
And it's embarrassing. It's really
Yeah.
embarrassing for people, like, people get on Sean for quote tweeting the dorks and the follows you while they're talking shit about him thing. But the reality is that we should all be happy as hell that we don't have to deal with that type of shit. So once in a while, if he wants to do that, I have no problems with it at all,
Mm.
because his replies, his quote tweets, his DMs are full of dumb fucking idiots who are just constantly calling him, and I mean, they were doing it on the Fightful Dynamite
Oh,
review
yeah.
this
Oh,
week
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Paid by Tony Khan, AEW shill. Like, those things that they're gonna keep saying to people over and over and over again.
Yep.
I just have to say, if you put stock more than 24 hours after this happened and don't have a podcast where you talk about this, or it's not your job to do it, you need to have a mandatory day of touching grass.
Well, that's what I was literally gonna say, these people need to go outside. These people
It's
need to go outside. They need to
because
go
because here, and
have
I'm
a
gonna do
picnic
some
in the
real name
park
dropping right
or
now. Eric Bischoff,
oh my
Jim
god.
Cornette, Bully Ray and Dave LaGreca on SiriusXM, Fightful, Wrestling Observer, all other media outlets who have paywalls and pay people to write articles on wrestling. These are the people making money off of talking about this.
Of course. Of course.
If you are a Twitter shit poster like that fucking idiot AEW neckbeards, the Gareth douchebag, Jobber Nation, WWF counselor, unpaid critic. I mean, that he calls himself unpaid critic is the most ridiculous thing in the world.
I don't even know half these people, so that's how I can tell you how out of I'm like, "Nope, you're not even on my
These
like, see you later."
these fucking lowlives circle jerking with each other on Twitter, who think
But
that
that's
they're
yeah.
all, that they're all like this clique amongst each other, and just love going like, "Oh yeah, shitting on AEW. Oh yeah, this is incredible. Oh, they said this. Oh, you said something about Sean Ross Sapp. Oh, you said something about Denise. Oh, this is just a one big great circle jerk." I hope that these people eventually realize that the only thing that actually likes them is their dominant hand.
They won't though because they have people like us talking about him and wasting our airtime. This is what they want. They would take they
It's
would
what they
take this
want,
and
yes.
they would take this and retweet this and they would say, "Oh," and they would just you know what I mean? Like they win when we do that, like when this is happening, which is why
Sometimes they
I
do
don't
need to be
address them
called
at
out,
all.
though. They're you know, listen,
But they don't care that they get called out.
everyone, well, I know that
They
they
don't
don't
care.
care,
That
but
them getting
eventually
called
I
out
believe
makes
in
them
karma.
laugh. You know what I mean?
I believe in karma.
I do too.
Karma karma will get them one day.
Yeah, and it will,
So,
and then we'll all laugh. It's already gotten a few people, and we've all laughed at their expense
yes,
over the last few years,
exactly.
and that
Like
will
Brad
happen.
Shepard.
Yeah, that's who
Um,
I was thinking of. Yeah, so it's like I don't. I feel like these people get off. on things like this. If they saw this clip, they wouldn't be sitting there going, "Oh, these two guys are shitting on me." They would be like, "Look at these two bums waste talking about," and that would, So it's kind of like it's very weird. And to me, it's like one of those things where and I've said it multiple times. I'm a little guy in this space. Right? I'm a big boy, but I'm a little guy in this space. Right? Not a lot of people know me. That's fine. But at the end of the day, like if the only time I ever see you on social media is when you're doing something stupid or saying something stupid, that says more to me about you. Like, you know what I mean? Like the only time the guy that went on there, and again, we've been doing this for 45 minutes. Like I want to keep it on the AEW side of thing. But the guy that went on there within the last couple of days and said that stuff about Denise, right?
Mhm.
Never heard of that guy. Never seen that guy before in my life.
Oh,
The,
you've
the
never
only
heard of him?
Never heard of him. Not
Oh,
once. I've never even seen him. I'm sure he has a bigger following than I do. Probably makes more money than I do doing this shit. Fine. Okay. I never seen that guy before in my life. And I even put it on Twitter. I quote tweeted the video. I said, never seen this guy before. I wonder why. Because he's a fucking bum. That's why I've never seen him. There you go. We got John Bear in the chat. Welcome in, buddy. Saying I never heard of that guy until yesterday. Like
right.
that to me, like that should say, and again, these people have legions of people that are like them who follow them and like them. And like Scott says right here, he got what he wanted out of that video. He made that video with the purpose to be in circulation like he was. And while everybody else was shitting on him, as they should, because he's a bum, in his brain, because he's a bum, he's sitting there going like, beauty. This is everything that I wanted. I got this many more followers. I got this many more clicks. This guy's talking about me on his show. This guy's talking about me on his show. Boom, boom, boom. This is what I wanted. This is what I want. Like they don't think that way to the point where they're like, oh, maybe I did mess up. Maybe I shouldn't act this way. And I agree with you with karma. Karma will get them. And eventually they're not going to matter. Probably definitely in this space, but probably on the planet because they probably shouldn't. No offense. But like, that's why, like, for me, even though I see that, and I'll write a comment or I'll say something like that on there, and I'll just be like, "You're a loser, buddy," whatever. Not that he cares what I think. I'm this little guy in Massachusetts. Like, who cares? But at the end of the day, like, I like how everybody comes to defend, and I like how everybody in this space, we know the good people. We know the good people that work hard and earn it, and Denise is one of them, right? And SRS and Phil Lindsay and these people that we've mentioned that get all this shit from these terrible, just scum of the earth type people. We know their work. We know their hard work. We respect them because we know they're good people and they work their asses off and they got where they are, not because they're an AEW shill and getting paid by AEW. They got where they are because they worked their ass off, something that fucking loser in his chair doesn't do. Doesn't do.
And the thing too, I know that they like there is a caveat to it because they like being mentioned. If one of those bum loser bitches got a hold of the show and were like, "Oh wow, he mentioned me," blah
Yeah.
blah blah. Look at how angry he's getting. I don't talk about them
Yeah.
so that this way they continue the circle jerk.
Mm.
I talk about them so that this way someone else who maybe never heard of them before
Yeah. Doesn't
now
find them.
knows the type of shit that that person is.
Yeah.
Because and that, I believe, is why Sean does what he does. Because now you know this person who follows him and probably subscribes to Fightful Select.
100%. And that used to be my favorite thing Sean would do when he would just post a screenshot that it would say follows you after they would rip Sean. I'd be like,
Yeah.
they're all clowns. They're
Now
all
you
clowns.
know that they're a piece of shit. And that now I'm glad that, and I'm gonna name drop him, that Joe Cronin, his stupid bum ass fucking video
Yeah.
was put online and circulated because now you, Scott, John Bear, you who never knew the name Joe Cronin,
Yeah.
I knew about him for years. I'm actually surprised that you never knew about him.
I never seen him, never heard of him until I saw that.
You now know if you ever see Joe Cronin,
Yeah.
mute, block, out of my life, he's a
Yeah.
piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is a reaction to the action of him putting that out there.
Yeah.
While he might get the clicks that he wants,
I was gonna say he would see
congratulations.
this and he would
Con
be like I said, he would be like, "Ah, yes."
Congratulations, Joe
Yeah.
Cronin. You got
I
the
mean,
clicks that you wanted from it, but also now more than half of those clicks are people who now know you're a piece of shit.
yeah. And that is where I don't know. I don't know. These people are always going to be around. Like they're always going to have a voice because there's a lot of people that think the same way they do because there's just a lot of not great people in the world. Just in this space and they
Mhm.
just have stupid opinions and they're dumb and they're ill-informed and they're just fucking weird, man. It's just
Yeah,
weird behavior. And I'm
and
not going to sit
and
here and say that I'm Mr. Normal because I am not. Nobody is normal. But at the end of the day, it's
the
like, what do you
reason
do? What do you
why
do to what do you do for it's just so bizarre to
yeah,
me.
so, like, and I'll take you a peek behind my mentality on this. This is obviously a green screen background. There's just a plain wall behind me at the moment
Yeah.
because I had to reorganize my house. Um, but the reason why I like getting the things that you see behind me is because when you watch a show that I am on, you see that I am impartial, that I am unbiased.
Yep.
Because right above my shoulder here is a TNT championship, and right next to me is the WWE Universal Championship.
Mhm.
And I've got an MJF box right here with the "That's a great fucking pickle" hat and pickle jars and an
Yep.
MJF. And on this side, I'm blocking her, unfortunately. But on this side, you see I've got an Oscar bobblehead
Yep. I see it.
that
I
I didn't
see it.
even buy, by the way. My husband bought that. And it like this is why I liked having all this stuff. And eventually, I'm gonna have a new setup where I'll actually have this stuff displayed again, and it won't be a green
Mhm.
screen. But exactly what John Bear said. It's
Yeah.
short-term gain of notoriety, but the reason for their notoriety will hurt them because
100%.
more people are gonna see the types of pieces of shit that they are.
Yep. I agree.
And so that's why I'm okay with name dropping and I'm okay with saying that stuff because they think it's gonna benefit them, but it's actually gonna have the opposite effect.
I would agree. I would agree.
I have all of this stuff because yes, I did have a falling out with WWE. I didn't watch them for a while, and that's the key benefit to being the type of person that I am, and if you like me, you know that I don't hate watch things. I don't hate watch, I just don't watch. That's
Yep.
the that's what I believe in.
Mhm.
So I bought a Universal Championship and then I said, I'm not into this product anymore, so I'm not watching it." I didn't watch pay-per-views. I didn't watch I didn't watch SummerSlam last year, which was like the first big pay-per-view of
Yeah.
WWE's I actually did not watch. And I was content with being an AEW fan and talking about AEW and just you know what? You wanna talk about WWE? You're a fan of WWE? Cool.
Yeah.
I have no problems with that. Unlike people like the ones that I mentioned that are going to constantly be in other people's chats, other people's replies, needling them for being AEW fans, and
Mhm.
WWE is the end all of wrestling and the only place that really matters. People in the company that you show for don't agree with that. Seth Rollins last week praised Will Ospreay and said that he's at a top tier level in wrestling right now. You know what that means? Seth Rollins
Thinks that
called
AEW.
AEW
Yeah.
top tier.
Yeah.
Seth
Yeah.
Rollins.
Yeah. They know. They know. You It's just, again, it's people that if your opinion is different from them, you're stupid.
Right.
You're stupid. And it's in wrestling, it's in mute, it's everywhere. But that is what it is now. There is no, oh, you like other things than I like? That's cool. It's, oh, you like other things than I like? You must be a fucking idiot. And that's just the way that, not everybody, but that's just the way that things operate nowadays. If you don't like what I like, or you don't agree or believe what I believe, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're an idiot. I need to make sure you know that you're an idiot and that I'm better than you. And you know it. Get it? See what I did there?
Yeah. Miss that
Uh
guy. I really miss
yeah.
that guy.
Well, he surfaced last week. He had his first tweets of the year. But
But
yeah,
yes, I
again,
totally agree with what you just said.
you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
you know,
they are specifically their lives, their mindsets, their personalities are specifically designed to just go after people that don't agree with them.
yep.
And it's sad. It's really sad to just have that type of a living.
Mhm.
You know, I feel bad for any direct loved one of theirs who, I there's got to be somebody in Jobber Nation's life that's like, what the fuck are you doing? There's got to be somebody in his life or her life. I don't know if it's a man or a woman. It's got to be somebody in their life that's like, yeah, he's on Twitter or she's on Twitter just being like a fucking doofus
I
or
don't think so,
whatever.
man.
You know, there's got to be one person in any of those people's lives. I mean, maybe they don't even know that they're doing that stuff, which goes, if somebody doesn't know that you're doing that stuff, that means there aren't that many people that care about you. So it's it it's gotta, and it's never going to end.
No,
I know that, but there's got to be at some point an uprising of positive people to finally
not as
get rid of these types of people.
at
And I know
least
it's not
not
going to
on
happen
not on social media.
because
Like
social media
social
is
media wouldn't
designed.
exist if everybody was positive. It's
That's
designed
also
for that
true.
shit.
Yeah, it
You know
is
what I
really
mean?
designed for them.
Of course.
So it is what it is on that front. But
That's Drew and I's
AEW,
opinion on the way things work. I felt like that started with the CM Punk stuff, and then it went into just a totality of like how
of
certain
life.
media is covered and how certain people get. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
it is what it is, and AEW is not going to fail,
no.
because like those people that we mentioned are always preying on the downfall of AEW.
Yeah.
But WCW 2000 was trending,
Oh yeah. Dude, I
and
told
most
you,
of the
finger
people that
poke.
were
I saw people literally calling it the finger poke of doom for AEW. And I'm like,
it's
brother, stop.
it's
Just stop.
really unfortunate that social media exists in this fashion because most of the people calling it the downfall and comparing it to WCW 2000 probably weren't even alive then.
Probably not. Probably not. But all right.
We're at the hour mark of the
We
show
are. We haven't
practically.
even, yeah, so we need to cram in these 3 shows in the next hour, which is fine.
Battle of
Which
the
is fine.
Belts, we don't really need to talk about
No,
that much.
I'll do that first. We'll
It's
just gloss over the results really. There was one important thing that did happen though
yes,
on Battle of the Belts.
yes.
But so Battle of the Belts,
Which also
the
didn't
first
really need to happen on Battle of the Belts, but
no, it could have happened on Khalid, but still glad it happened. I will say the Hook Shane Taylor match, mwah, oh, it was
very good.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Shane Taylor rules. The fact that he talks so much shit during those I love that. That was my favorite. I'm not trying to bring us back to the pandemic era of wrestling. No. But one of the
Very
things
good.
that I loved during the pandemic era was because there were no fans, you heard the wrestlers talking shit to each other. Roman Reigns, early on in his reign, he would talk
Oh,
so much shit
so good.
during them, like
So good.
so much shit. And I was like, oh my God, I fucking love this. And Shane Taylor is really good at it. And we had Hook in the corner, and he said, you better, he was beating the shit out of Hook for a lot of this match. Then when he had him in that corner and he said, you better quit or I'm going to send you home to your daddy in a body bag. And the whole crowd went, oh, because it had quieted it down where you could hear him over everybody. And he said that, and you could feel the crowd be like, oh, shit, like this, he's got to kill this man. He's going to kill Hook. Fantastic. It was a good match. Hook won. No titles were changed, as is the thing that
Battle of
happens.
the Belts tradition.
Yes. However, I did think that for a Battle of the Belts, I thought this was one of, again, these shows are not going to matter to us, and we've talked about it a half a dozen times, until something significant actually happens on the show, like a title change or something. But as far as like the matches go and things like that, I did think this was one of the better Battle of the Belts. But again, nothing significant happened, except in the second match, Roderick Strong defended the International Championship against Rocky Romero, a match that you knew Roderick Strong was going to win. It was a competitive match. Roderick Strong wins. At the end of the match, the Kingdom, Taven, Wardlow, and Mike Bennett are in there. Kyle O'Reilly comes out. They all, I think he hugs Roderick Strong, like kind of congratulates him. And then he's checking on Rocky Romero. He's being a good dude, and he's checking on Rocky Romero. He kind of lifts Rocky Romero up. And Kyle O'Reilly turns his back and is like clapping to the crowd for the crowd to cheer on everybody. Yeah. And while he's doing that, Wardlow clotheslines Ricky Romero's head straight off his body. Just murdered him with a clothesline.
Yeah.
And Kyle O'Reilly turns around and sees this, and they start beating down Rocky Romero, and Kyle O'Reilly stops him. He pushes Taven away. He pushes Bennett away. And then all of a sudden, Roderick Strong turns Kyle O'Reilly around and knees him right in the face. Gives him the jump knee. Kyle O'Reilly's out cold. And then he gets down and he's yelling. He said, I told you could do it on your own. And then he was like, but you didn't listen to me or whatever. He's yelling like, you should have listened to me. Blah, blah, blah. And that's it. And then they announced on Battle of the Belts that next week at Dynasty, AEW International Championship, Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly. Now, we are going to talk much more about Dynasty next week. That'll be kind of a review, probably more of a preview show than anything.
Yeah.
There are 8 matches right now.
It will be more.
This is lining, but right now, the 8 they have, this is lining up to be one of, if not the best card they've ever had. Like,
agreed.
It is crazy. But again, we'll save that for next week. But go look at that picture of the card of the 8 matches they have. 5 of them are like, what the like?
I'm invested in every single one.
You have Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly, which should be ridiculous. You have Okada versus Pac, which should be ridiculous. And then Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson. From an in-ring standpoint, those 3 matches.
Swerve and Joe. I mean,
you got Swerve and Joe. You got Tony Storm fighting Thunder Rosa, which we'll talk about her because she had a great promo on Collision. The Young Bucks versus FTR.
In a ladder match.
All the bullshit aside, those guys in the ring against each other is magic in a ladder match. This card is looking like it's going to be.
I wish the funny thing is it's during spring break for me. So I could go to Dynasty if I wanted to.
So your spring break is next week?
It's the weekend.
Like it starts. Yeah, so ours in Massachusetts.
I have a full week of work this week.
Got it.
And then next week, starting on the 22nd. So I could go to Dynasty if I wanted to.
And Dynasty is where?
It's in St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis, right?
But it's really far. And I don't like flying.
Yeah, you got to fly and blah, blah, blah. Well, talk to me during the week if we could find some cheap stuff. Maybe. But anyway, I would not. I was supposed to go to WrestleMania last week and life things happened and I didn't. So I'm kind of itching to travel for a wrestling show. So
I'm not itching to fly, however.
Yeah, that's fine. But if we were like, I could help you. I could help you through. So that happened.
Yeah.
Very excited for that. Very excited for Roderick and Kyle. That should be great.
Yeah. And then, of course, the main event of the show.
And then the main event was Athena. Oh, my God. Very good. Defending the Ring of Honor Championship against Red Velvet, which Red Velvet's very good. Very good match.
Oh, she's
from Red Velvet. She's excellent.
Really.
And what happened afterwards was very cool as well. I actually wouldn't mind this tag match actually happening at Dynasty. That would be okay for me if you wanted
Mm,
to do Billy Starks and Athena versus Queen Amanada and Red Velvet, even on like the kickoff show. Fine, cool. Well, why not? Why not? Like I said, more Athena on my television screen, please. I would like to see more Athena, and I love Billy Starks too. I love Queen Amanada is great. I like the whole thing. I thought it was a great main event. Obviously, Athena's keeping that belt. She ain't losing it during that. But I like the little angle they did afterwards, where like I said, Queen Amanada came out. They were beating her up, and I thought it was very well. I thought it was very well done. So again, no championship changes as usual.
yeah.
Nothing super super duper significant. But I thought from an in ring perspective was really good, and they did have a couple angles that I thought landed pretty well. Specifically, the Roderick Strong Kyle O'Reilly
And
thing.
nothing
I liked.
none of it actually needed to happen, which is the unfortunate part. All of this could have been spread out between Dynamite and Collision,
I
and
agree.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I enjoy watching AEW, but they really can just kill off Battle of the Belts at this point.
I
There's
assume it's a I assume it's a contractual thing.
They could just make it something else. Make it a
Yeah.
third hour of Collision at this point.
Yeah.
It just really
I feel like
doesn't
it's a yeah.
it doesn't matter. They are not even showing that they really care about it,
Yeah.
and they haven't for a long time, because every time this happens, not one title changes hands. Jeremy Lambert, my friend over at Fightful, last night tweeted, "AEW champions," and just well, not even just AEW champions, but just champions who have wrestled on every Battle of the Belt so far. I
Yeah,
believe
like
there's been 11 or 12 of
yeah.
them.
I think the first one had a title change, right? Or has there never been one? I thought the first one maybe did. No?
Sammy Guevara won the TNT title from, I think, Dustin Rhodes,
Was it Dustin? Not okay. Yeah.
or maybe it was Cody. I'm not 100. I don't remember. It was one of the Rhodes brothers. One of them. Champions are 28 and 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
28 and 1 on a show dedicated to
To all championship
defending
matches.
titles.
Yeah. Yeah.
28 and 1.
It's wild.
This show, this to get last night, had an eliminator match. A a champion fought on the
Oh,
show
uh
dedicated to defending titles.
mhm. Scorpio Sky
Oh,
Elite.
Scorpio Sky, okay. Um, a champion fought on a show dedicated to defending titles in a non-title match
Yeah.
to set up a title match
Yeah.
on Dynamite.
Yeah.
This angle, as much as it was the most talked about thing on the show,
Yeah.
this angle could have happened on Wednesday
Yeah.
to set up the title match at Battle of the Belts, the show
Yeah.
dedicated to defending titles.
We got a
The
pay-per-view
Ring
coming
of
up, Trula.
Honor, as much as I love Athena, she doesn't have an AEW title. She has a Ring of Honor title. This is AEW Battle of the Belts. As much as I love Hook, the FTW title is not an officially
Recognized.
recognized title
Yeah.
by AEW. So that means that AEW Battle of the Belts featured an unofficial belt, an eliminator title, an eliminator match not for a belt, and a Ring of Honor belt.
Yeah.
That was what Battle of the Belts was last
Mhm.
night.
Sure was. Sure
What
was.
the fuck? There's
Yeah.
no need for that.
Yeah. I agree.
All of that stuff could have just been sprinkled between Dynamite and Rampage and Collision to have an extra hour, and it was good. The matches were good. It was one of the better wrestled Battle of
Mhm.
the Belts that I can remember. So I totally agree with you there.
Yeah.
but it meant that I got to bed later because I had to cover that shit on Fightful, okay? And I wasn't
Oh,
happy about that. I was like, "God damn
man. Yeah,
it."
yeah. All right, we're gonna try not to skim, but we're gonna get through these Dynamite and Collision in the next 45, 50 minutes here. So, Dynamite happened on April 10th, this past Wednesday. Pretty decent show. Pretty decent show. I liked it. It was supposed to start off with an AEW eliminator match for the AEW World Championship, Drew, but Samoa Joe was attacked by Swerve during his entrance, ended up getting speared through a table, and then they kind of were acting like the match was in doubt now with Dustin, which, okay, I need to ask this because A, I don't remember. When Dustin cut the promo, this match was originally booked as a world title match, was it? Or was it
I thought it
always an
was.
eliminator? Because I thought it was a world title match, and then
So
I
did
didn't
I.
know if there was backlash or something, and they were like, you know what, we'll make it an eliminator instead. But I was under the impression coming into Dynamite that this match was going to be for the world, like a actual world title
Yes,
match,
I
not an
was too.
eliminator.
You're not wrong. You're not the
Okay,
only
I
one.
just wanted to make sure that I wasn't a fool and didn't and missed something completely. Regardless, I don't think the nothing that happened throughout the night changed anything. But I just thought I thought that was supposed to be a world title match with Dustin and Joe, but it ended up obviously being an eliminator. But I thought it was a good piece of business with Swerve attacking Joe, kind of heating up that rivalry because
Should be.
that's the
This is the shit that I love. It's
yeah.
on site. Wherever they are in the same vicinity of each other,
Mm-hmm.
that was perfect. I loved it.
Yep, I loved it. So now we're operating under the situation that we don't know if this eliminator match is happening at this moment. Um, we then had a vignette that showed Trent Beretta's heel turn from the week prior, which we will be leaning into here. And then we had ourselves a TNT championship match, and a good one at that, where Adam Copeland defeated and defended his TNT title against Penta El Cerro Miedo. I thought this was really good. Penta is great.
This was a
He's
really,
yeah,
really to
great.
see Adam Copeland doing
Yes,
some
and this
lucha
type of
shit
match, yes,
was
very good.
really cool.
Yeah, it was
Really
very,
cool.
very cool. You could tell that, Adam Copeland has had great matches since he showed up there, but he had his wrestling boots on tonight because he was doing stuff that you don't see. We haven't seen Edge do and Adam Copeland do. Like it was out of his element
Yeah.
of wrestling style, and I thought he killed it. I thought this match was great. And Edge retained, and then after the match, though, Brody King and Julia Hart come in and they're attacking Adam Copeland, and Willow Nightingale comes out, and she fights him off, and you had that really cool visual of Willow and Ed. I'm gonna always call him Edge. Of Willow and Adam Copeland in the ring together, and then we later find out that this Wednesday on Dynamite, or is it on? It's on Dynamite,
Yes, on
right? Yeah.
Dynamite, yeah.
We are gonna have ourselves a mixed tag match, which I am very much looking forward to. It is going to be Adam Copeland and Willow versus Julia Hart and Brody King, and that fucking rules, Drew. That fucking rule. What a moment that had to be for Willow Nightingale to be in that ring and be like, I'm fucking with Edge, and it like I just came to save Edge, and now I get to team up with fucking Edge.
Yeah.
Like that has to be unreal. But I loved it. I thought this whole thing was awesome, and I'm very much looking forward to that mixed tag match. Oh, Drew, feeling good about it. Feeling good about it. We then had Renee Paquette interviewed Hook, Chris Jericho, and Shibata. They were in a
Oh,
6-man.
man.
Yep.
Then
And
my next new favorite thing in AEW
yeah,
happened on the
yeah.
segment.
I got the John Bear in the chat saying Copeland versus Willow for the title should
It
happen.
should.
I would not
Absolutely.
be against it. And Scott saying that it was better than he thought it was. I think he was saying Penta and Adam Copeland there. And this whole segment between the three of them turned into Jericho basically trying to be the coach, trying to be like, hey, I'm the veteran here. We all got to listen to me. I think we should do this. We should do that. Blah, blah, blah,
Yeah, he
blah.
has some new I reported this on my news show yesterday with Franchise on the, Roundtable News Network, that he's filed some new,
Trademarks.
trademarks. One of them is, like, one of them is the learning tree. And then
So he's going
the
to have
other one
another.
is
That means he's going to have people with him. They're just going to continuously give people to
the
Chris Jericho.
the other yeah. The other one is the rarefied air of Jericho.
That I don't mind. That could be fun.
Yeah,
This is all leading to Jericho turning heel again.
of course.
1,000%. He has the goatee now. He has a goatee, and Jericho has always been one to say every time there's a character shift,
Oh,
a physical
I didn't
appearance
pick
of
up
me
on that.
changes, and he's starting to get the facial hair. He just has a goatee,
I
starting
did
to get
not
some
pick up on
facial
that.
hair. He's turning heel. He's turning heel on Hook. I actually wouldn't mind seeing the other way around, but he's turning heel on Hook. Eventually, I didn't know about the trademarks. The learning tree tells me that he's going to have younger guys underneath him, probably in a Hook, obviously, but he's going to have younger guys underneath him, and they'll be in the Jericho learning tree. But yeah, again, whatever. I'm kind of indifferent to this. I don't hate it, but
I
I'm
don't
not.
hate it either.
I don't hate it, but it's not like something that I'm like, oh, I can't wait for the fucking
I know, like,
crescendo of this.
I think
You know?
everybody kinda just, like, plays up the Jericho hate more than
Yes,
anything. I'm
I
very
agree.
happy I've not heard Judas in quite some time, which is
Yeah. Well, just
that
wait though. You think they got away from it permanently, or do you think like once this story kind of finds its the
uh,
apex, he'll go back to it?
probably
Because,
he'll go back to it,
but
which
if
I
he's turning
find
heel though, do you really want? I mean, he was a heel and people were singing the
he's
song
been
back
using
then, but
He's been
yeah,
using Judas since the beginning, and he was
yeah,
a heel for most of it.
yeah.
So,
I don't know.
but it just doesn't make s I don't the heel thing should be that he doesn't use Judas because the crowd sings it, not
Yes, I agree.
that he does use it because they sing it.
I agree.
Um, but, that's probably a little bit of an ego-driven thing, which is fine. Um, but yeah, so Jericho leaves that segment, and then the highlight of that segment happens where and this is something that Shibata has been doing. Like, once in a while, but Shibata interrupts the segment after Hook leaves after,
Yes.
Jericho leaves. He's, like, using the Google Translator,
Yeah, the
so
translator thing. Yeah.
the voice of it just makes it even funnier that it's like, "What's up with him?"
Yeah. What's his deal? What's his deal going on right now? Why is he being weird?
And then bet.
Yeah, bet.
It's just he puts an arm out, his fist out, and then hits bet for Hook to do bet
Yeah,
back, and
yeah,
it's so funny, and
yeah.
the crowd got a huge laugh out of it
Oh,
too.
for sure,
It's
for sure.
because it wasn't the only time it happened this week. Also, it happened on Collision as well.
Yeah,
Um, Shibata is just special, and
he's
he
good.
doesn't even have to talk in order to be special. He
Yeah,
can have Google Translate
it's true.
doing the
It's true.
talking for him.
Yeah, it's a good little shtick that he has there because it's very entertaining when he just comes out of nowhere with the phone. It's very good. Then we ran into the stuff that we already talked about in the first hour. That happened after that,
Yeah.
with the footage and the Young Bucks and all that fun stuff. And then we had, which we referenced when we were talking about the other stuff, we had Will Ospreay. So Will Ospreay is getting interviewed by Renee Paquette on the stage. Um, Now, Triple H, WrestleMania week, didn't say anybody by name. Didn't say anybody by name, but he was asked about some people that the rumor was they were trying to sign and then ended up signing with another company, Will Ospreay, Okada. Those are the people that the general public, Mercedes, Will Ospreay, Okada, Jay White. Like, there's been rumors that people were going, that WWE was interested in signing a bunch of people, and they ended up all going to AEW. And Triple H, again, didn't mention anybody by name, but when asked the question about losing out on some of these people, his response was, hey, they had to make the best decision for themselves, but at the end of the day, I don't want people working here that want an easier schedule and don't want to grind and don't want to be here for the grind. You want to work one day a week, you want to have an easier schedule. Those are not the type of hard workers that I want working here anyway. That's not quote, that's not word for word, but that is a paraphrasing of what Triple H said, right? So Ospreay comes out, and Ospreay basically addresses that answer. And he says, you got people, you got someone saying that I'm afraid of the grind. I'm not afraid of the grind. And it's funny because the only reason you're in the position you have is because you were grinding the boss's daughter, which obviously got a good response from the crowd and a good response from me sitting on my couch. I was like, oh shit, Will, come on now, Will. And then he turns his attention to Bryan Danielson. He calls Bryan Danielson a living legend. And he says that they're going to show the world that AEW, this is the new tagline, that AEW is where the best come to wrestle, Drew. But that Will Ospreay, though, he's on another level. He is the level. Scott, he is not lying. Well, listen, I'm not going to sit here. I don't know the inner workings. Okay. So when you say he's not lying, I am not going to sit here and say that Triple H didn't rise on that side of the business because of his relationship with Stephanie McMahon. However, Triple H seems like a smart guy, seems like a hard worker. I'm sure he earned some of that as well. Okay. So I'm not going to sit here and say, I'm not going to sit here and just say, yeah, he definitely got that just because of this. But there is truth to what Ospreay was saying. This obviously riled up some people, riled up the wrestling space. I loved it. Again,
riled up these people again.
You had the week before where Triple H answers a question that way. Pat McAfee on his show says that, I forget who they were talking about, but he says, he'd probably be somewhere else wrestling in front of 600 people, which is a shot at AEW. So, I have no problem with this type of stuff. This type of stuff is the shit I can get behind, where they're kind of going back and forth with each other. And I'm like, hell yeah, I like it. What comes out of it, it is what it is. But
well, listen,
what'd you think of this Ospreay promo? Was great.
The shots taken by those people, I much prefer over the circle jerkers that we mentioned earlier doing their stupid shtick on Twitter. So I have no problems with this type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They've been doing like those people. Those people were saying, the ones that we mentioned earlier. Those people were saying that they were saying that they were making it seem like AEW was just taking shots now for the first time.
Yeah.
This has been going on since AEW. The first All In back in 2018, the guy who just became the top guy in WWE smashed a throne with a sledgehammer. This started before Dynamite was even on the air.
Was him telling now the guy who decided that he is the top guy in WWE. That throne was, hey, Triple H, go screw yourself when Cody smashed that throne. And now 5 years later, Triple H was going, let me introduce on the Raw after Mania. Let me introduce to you the guy who's carrying us into the new era, Cody Rhodes. So it's wrestling, guys. It's wrestling. This is what happens.
That's not the first time that Triple H was directly shot at by somebody in AEW.
Oh, for sure.
Because the last time someone said in a feud with MJF, the only thing I can wait around for maybe is if Tony Khan has a daughter you can marry.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Mr. Hell Froze Over himself, CM Punk, who is now also in WWE.
Correct.
The one who famously said, go main event, a buy one, get one free, night 4. Obviously referencing WrestleMania's main event.
Yeah.
To MJF when he was talking about the bidding war of 2024.
Yep. 100%.
So these shots have been going on for years. It's not like it just happened.
No, absolutely not. And again, I like it. I like that side of things. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, I don't mind it either.
I wish they would talk shit about each other more, to be honest. But I thought this promo again, Will Ospreay, and I've said it a bunch of times, and I'll try to make this the last time I say it. I am so impressed by his promo work because I didn't know he had that side to him. I knew he was one of the best wrestlers in the world, but I never saw him cut a ton of promos. They don't cut a ton of like in-ring promos in New Japan. That's usually after the match at the press conferences and stuff like that and things like that. I didn't know he could cut a promo and be this type of babyface as good as he is. Like he is, I mean, I say it every week, but he is impressing me week after week after week with his promo skills.
Yeah, agreed.
We then had that 6-man tag where Shane Taylor Promotions, which was Anthony Ogogo making a return, Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty, they defeated Chris Jericho, Hook, and Shibata. This match was fine. This match was fine for me. But they're obviously continuing the Hook and Jericho thing, as you know, when this Wednesday night, Taz is brokering a meeting between Hook and Jericho. So that's what we got this week. So they're obviously continuing this. There was some, not dissension, but there was some miscommunication between Shibata, Jericho, and Hook during this match, which gave Shane Taylor Promotions a big win on Dynamite. That's a big win for them because I would like to see them a lot more because I think Ogogo fits in perfectly with them, to be honest with you. And I think I like Shane Taylor a lot, and I like Lee Moriarty. I would like to see that group do more. Shane Taylor Promotions. We then had Okada just destroy a jobber. I believe his name was Cristiano Argento. I want to give him the credit for his name, but Okada destroyed him. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
This actually bothered me more than the footage being shown.
Wow.
Yeah, because this was listen, this I think personified the criticisms that the people that we mentioned earlier. I think it gives them all the ammo in the world to continue talking about how this show is just matches for the sake of matches. There was literally no reason for this match at all. Nothing against Cristiano.
I think what happened after, right, was kind of the reason why they did it.
But there was no reason to do this in general. You could have just had the thing after it happened by itself.
Yeah.
You could have, and in fact, I had even mentioned on Wednesday night on my other review show, what would have been better was to have Pac wrestle this guy and then have the champion come out and attack him instead of the other way around. I would have much rather it have been, because listen, Okada won this title, and that was really cool. I think that was the right call.
Agreed.
But yeah, they were doing the thing with Pac since then. Fine. Mm-hmm. But why? Who is this random person?
Mm-hmm.
Who I didn't even remember his name until you just mentioned it. And I don't even remember what he looks like. I'm never going to see him again.
Probably, yeah.
Facing a champion. It wasn't even like an eliminator match.
No.
It was just a match. Why? And yeah, just to serve Pac coming out after.
Yeah.
But that could have been Pac facing him.
Mm. And
then the champion coming out after. Or just do a promo segment.
Yeah. You could have. So after the match, Okada grabs a mic. He accepts Pac's challenge. And then Pac arrives, but he's attacked by the Young Bucks on the stage. And then FTR comes out to save him. But Okada grabs a chair. And he prevents it. And he walloped Pac with that chair.
Oh, he did.
It was good.
He walloped him just as bad as Liv Morgan did to Rhea Ripley on
Monday. Literally. Just unbelievable. But he gave him a good chair shot right across the side of the head, it looked like. It was beautiful chair shot. and Pac just immediately down. And again, I liked, yeah. I mean, once everything kind of happened, I was just like, all right, whatever. But like, yeah, you could have the whole Pac wrestling instead of him. Maybe that was actually a good idea. Um, but it's all right. I think the ending sequence gave juice to the Okada Pac thing, and I think that was really what they were trying
Well,
to get
yeah,
out of
I
it.
mean, yeah,
I guess.
as long as that happened, then fine, but
Yeah.
I'm still just like, why was this random nobody getting a match with a champion? No, they'd never there's no Dark anymore or Elevation, so it's not like they were even getting, like, padded wins
Yeah.
on the Dark shows. It's
Yeah.
just some random dude showing up at a Dynamite. And, I mean, I'm not saying this anything against him, that, he was a fine wrestler, I'm sure. He didn't really get that much offense,
No, it
but
was just a swash. But
but there was no reason for there being a match at all with the champion. Like I said, if it was Pac facing him, different story. But
mm,
there's no reason why he should have been facing a champion.
it's fair. It's fair. Um, Tony Storm has her toast to Thunder Rosa. Uh, this was pretty good. It was fun. Tony's just excellent at everything she does. This whole thing ends up with Tony Storm throwing the whole tray of champagne at Thunder Rosa. Um, Terrazzo then comes out and she's like trying to check on Thunder Rosa, and Thunder Rosa's like, "Get away from me! Like we're not. I don't need you. Like we're not friends."
Yeah.
Type thing. And then
I like
Mariah
how they're
May,
playing that up.
yeah, and
Yeah.
they addressed it on Collision during Thunder Rosa's promo as well, which we'll dive into here in a few minutes. And then this turned into Mariah May making her entrance to the ring, which she had this match with her and Anna Jay was very good.
Yeah.
I like this match a lot. um, and Mariah May ended up defeating Anna Jay. But so kind of talk in general about like, again, like I don't think the champagne toast was anything of like super duper substance or anything like that. But Tony Storm is just fun. She's
Well,
excellent. She's
no,
good at
it served a
everything.
purpose. It
It
served a
did.
purpose
It did.
because
Yes.
it was to wash the makeup off of
Oh, yes, that's right. And she,
Thunder
yeah, with the
Rosa,
towel. Yes, 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 yes.
which then played into the promo that we'll talk about. So, that was its purpose, which was perfect. That was
Yeah.
that served its purpose
Yeah.
100%. Um, and now listen. Now I just want to say, okay, we're getting all these girls kissing each other.
Seems to be happening a lot lately.
Uh, that doesn't do anything for me, pal. So, if we want to get some of the guys kissing each other, that's fine. But um, the it's it's so interesting because what I do find interesting about it, not the girls kissing part, but that since Revolution,
Hmm.
Mariah May has slowly just been turning into the old Tony Storm.
Yes.
And I kinda had this thought even before Revolution. Kinda like when in the first few weeks that Mariah May started and
Hmm.
was, like, kind of, like, being a bit puppy doggish to Tony Storm, like, "Oh, did you watch my match? Did you watch" like
Hmm.
that she was, like, getting a little she was getting like that. I started thinking about this then. When Tony Storm kissed her, you saw
Yep.
that she got really excited and wanted to now prove herself even more for Tony.
Hmm.
And a really interesting story beat here that I would like to see, I don't think it's going to happen, but what would really be cool based off of what I've seen with Mariah May's personality is that she has been slowly becoming it's like I forgot the name of the movie again, but the movie where the woman meets another woman and then
Single white female, baby.
yes, that was it. all of a sudden
That's
that
where it's going.
woman.
It's going the Mickey James, Chris Stratus route. Like that's where
Oh,
I
okay, I
think
like
this
that.
is that because that was based off single white female. Like you become she's going to become more and more obsessed with Tony Storm to the point that she's gonna fucking snap. And that's what it's gonna
Yeah.
that's
So,
a
like,
yeah.
she's been gifted Tony Storm's old gimmick
Yeah.
by Tony Storm.
Hmm.
The look, the music, and then she's getting kissed by Tony Storm as well. And it's firing her up to a, like, "Ooh, I wanna impress her even more,"
Hmm.
type of a thing. And I would
Yeah.
love for that to become a thing on in canon on TV,
Oh
to
yeah.
where the breakup is gonna be Tony Storm realizing that Mariah May is way too obsessive, and this needs
Yes.
to end, and then that's gonna make Mariah May snap, and that will be their feud.
Yeah.
I really would
Eh,
like it to be that.
yeah. It should be good. It should be good. But yeah, I thought Mariah May and Anna Jay had a great little match. It looked like at one point Anna was going to win the match, but then Mina Shirakawa, who her and Mariah May were either a tag team or like in a relationship or friends in Stardom together, where they were
Yeah,
kind of romantic with each other and a lot of things like that. She runs down to save Mariah, and then they share some champagne, and then they
and
end up
Kiss
kissing, like
as
you just
well.
said. They just kiss.
Just like, okay.
Yeah. So, okay, Drew. I know we're gonna have like 15 minutes to talk about Collision. Sadly, no, I'm just kidding. But like, we then have Mercedes Moné. This is where I'm gonna rant.
I
So
already know
Mercedes
where it's
Moné
going, and I
has a sit
don't
down.
disagree with you. I'm
Has a
already gonna
sit
tell you
down.
that now.
Yeah, yeah. She has a sit down interview with Alex Marvez, and they're talking about how at Double or Nothing, which is at the end of May, 5 weeks from now, 5 weeks from now, she is going to have a TBS championship match facing the winner of the TBS championship match this or next Sunday at Dynasty between Julia Hart and Willow Nightingale. Okay. I have, and well, then the lights go out. You hear some ruckus. The lights come back on. Mercedes Moné is hurt on the ground, laid out. With the lights going out, we would all assume that it was Julia Hart or something because the light, but that's just my assumption, but who knows?
No,
Could
clearly
be a trickeration.
it was Alex Marvez
Yes, obviously.
who was sitting right there.
So
The only
my
person.
thing is, Drew, I was at Big Business, which happened on March 13th or 19th, something like that. March
13.
13th, I thought it
Yeah.
was. Why do I have to wait until the last weekend of May, over 2 months, to see Mercedes wrestle a match? You brought, now again, maybe the attack that happened on Wednesday means that maybe a match will happen before Double or Nothing. Scott, that crossed my mind. I don't think that's bad. I don't think that's a bad guess
Yes,
as
that did
well.
cross my mind as well.
Cross my mind. I'm not really talking about what happened here. I'm talking about you signed Mercedes Moné, in my opinion, the biggest signing in the history of AEW, in my opinion, for what it symbolizes, for what it's going to mean to the ever-growing, getting better women's division in AEW. Now, I'm a big Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks guy. She's from Massachusetts. I think in ring, she's the best of the four. I am a big person, a big fan of hers, but she's not a good promo. She's not a good promo. She's not a great talker. Why the fuck am I only hearing her talk every week? You sign her so people can watch her wrestle, because that's where she is the elite of the elite, is in the fucking ring as one of the best women wrestlers on the planet. So why has she been there already for a month and hasn't stepped foot in the fucking ring? And now I have to wait until another 5 weeks from now to see her wrestle for the first time. People don't love Mercedes Moné because she fucking has great promos. They love her because she's one of the best wrestlers in the world. So why is she not wrestling? Why? Okay, I'm done.
So I thought that I had a genuine thought was maybe she's still not like really ready to wrestle yet.
Now, if that is the, and I said this on, because we had Warren Hayes on Beards on Thursday, and we talked about this a little bit. If she is not fully cleared and it is a physical thing, obviously, totally okay. Totally okay with it. And if that is the case, I don't think it's as obvious as you say, Scott. But like, if that's the case, cool. Obviously, you don't want to, you just signed her, gave her a boatload of money. You don't want her to wrestle hurt. So you got to play it out that way. And if that's the case, I'm cool with it. But you're not saying that. It's coming off as like, I don't need to see her coming out to cut a fucking one-line promo on the stage and leave. That is fucking stupid. That is what does that do? I want to see her wrestle.
Yeah.
And if it's a health thing, totally on board. Obviously, the health is more important than anything. But at the end of the day, like, that better be the reason why we have to wait 2.5 months to see this person debut in the ring, which is why everyone was excited about her going to AEW for the matches she was going to have, not because she was going to be cutting promos every week. So let's friggin' go here. Unless she's hurt, then obviously,
Right, yeah. Of course. I mean, if you're a sensible
that should just go.
you would not be like, "Oh, she's still injured, but I want her to wrestle."
Who cares? I want to see. No, obviously not. But like, let's go, huh? Let's go.
So now, as a result, because yesterday was an exact month of her debuting in AEW,
Yes.
the 13th. So now it's the 14th. Double or Nothing isn't until like May 28th or something like
Yes,
that.
Labor Day weekend, the last Sunday of the month of May.
So to play up that she's going to be wrestling. See, I kind of wish that they didn't say that she was going to be wrestling at that show, because what they could have just done was beat down angle, beat down angle, beat down angle until Double or Nothing.
Mhm.
Or like till around like 2-3 weeks before, and then she's like, "Whoever is attacking me, whoever you are, I'm gonna be in the ring at Double or Nothing. You better not be a coward. Show yourself and fight me,
Mm.
1-on-1, face to face in the ring." I
Yeah.
would have rather it been done that way instead of, "Oh, I'm announcing now a month and a half in advance." Or, the company is announcing a month and a half in advance, "I'm wrestling at Double or Nothing." That's not in a week or 2. That's
No.
5-6 weeks away from
Yeah,
now.
that's literally a month and a half away.
So,
It's
then
literally a
leave
month
me
and a half
down.
away from this today.
Yeah.
6 weeks from today.
So, it's like, I would have rather not that been announced, just have a beatdown thing and start a beatdown angle where maybe she is going to go and wrestle.
Mhm.
Oh, this is Mercedes' debut wrestling match against whomever.
Yeah, lights go. She has her
And
entrance, lights
then
go out, she's laid
similar
out in the
to
ring, and
like
that's
what
it.
Joe and Swerve did,
Yeah. Yeah.
somebody in a hood, somebody,
Yeah.
covered up, goes and beats her up at the stage. Now she's taken out on a stretcher, she can't wrestle.
Mhm.
Or like what they did on Wednesday, she's doing a backstage promo, lights go out, gets beaten up, assailant disappears. Now she can't finish the promo. She can't go to the ring, whatever. They do
Mhm.
that leading up to Double or Nothing. And then, like I said, a couple weeks beforehand, she's like, "Whoever you are, you fucking coward, cheap shotting me from behind, turning the lights off, not letting me see who you are.
Mhm.
I'm going to be in the middle of the ring at Double or Nothing. Show yourself. We're fighting 1-on-1, face to face."
Yeah, that'd
I
be
would
cool.
have preferred it to be that way.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't have the pencil, so.
Again, like, I have no problem with the interview. Like, again, the promos that she's cutting, I have no problem with. I don't think it's her strong suit, but she's fine.
Right, yeah.
She's fine. I have no problem with it. Just for me, it's like, What separates her from everybody else is her wrestling. So when the fuck do we get to see her wrestle?
I also think that my way of doing it would have been a really cool way to reveal who was attacking her, because I feel like they're probably gonna, like, reveal it by the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But you've already announced that she's wrestling at Double or
Mhm.
Nothing,
Yeah.
so now you're just gonna keep dragging it out and dragging it
Yeah,
out and dragging
literally.
it out, and
I'm
that's gonna cause people to be like, "Okay, well."
and for me, I'm like, even if it is an injury, like, and I know she's probably training and doing stuff like that, you don't want her to have like a warm-up match or two before, you know what I mean?
I mean,
I don't know.
I okay, so I don't necessarily
Not a
I don't
warm-up match, but you know what I mean? Like, you don't want her to have one match before.
I don't mind it being a big pay-per-view debut of a wrestling match. I
Well,
don't
why would
mind that.
yeah,
I just
again, and
wish that
it was at
they
Dynasty next week if she was healthy? What? Like,
even if they were gonna skip Dynamite, even if they were gonna skip Dynasty, but just book it better. Because I wouldn't have even announced her first wrestling match. Like I
fair.
said, just make it like, "Oh, if you wanna do these little teasers, or yeah, it's kinda like a bait and switch, but it's serving a purpose."
Mm,
Oh, tonight she's wrestling Anna Jay in her first match on Dynamite. Well, now she gets beat down backstage beforehand. Oh, she can't do the match. And then, oh, in 2 weeks' time, they do what they did on Wednesday. Oh, I was gonna do this match, but tonight I'm gonna go out in the ring and I'll do an open challenge.
mhm,
And then lights go out, she gets beat down, can't happen now. Just stuff like that leading up to Double or Nothing,
mm,
leading up to even Dynasty, if she was healthy and they could have done it at Dynasty. Should then do both her first real match, big time blockbuster on pay-per-view, and then we also see who has been attacking her. And if it's somebody that we're not expecting, it's gonna be a big, shocking reveal. So,
mhm.
like we both think, and Scott said in the chat, Chris Statlander. This is
Possibly, yeah.
Chris Statlander, hooded, beating her up, doing all this lights out stuff, and we're thinking it's like Julia Hart.
Yeah, she's doing it to make it seem like it's Julia Hart, but it's Chris Statlander, like, playing everybody, you
Right.
know?
And then that's like you show Willow and Stokely's reaction. You
Yeah.
see, oh, wait a minute, but Chris has been helping her the past few weeks. She's been talking to her backstage during one of these backstage promos, like, "Listen, I feel awful. I'm on your side. We gotta find out who this is." You know,
Mhm.
like and this was stupidly done, but I'm gonna just reference it in a similar fashion when Enzo turned on Big Cass in WWE.
Yeah.
That was dumb, but it's just in a similar way of like, this person, you're making it seem like they're your friend, like they're her friend, and she's on her side, but it turns out she's the one that's been, well, the Adam Cole MJF thing,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Don't drag it out like you did with Adam Cole and MJF, like it seems like you're gonna do now, but it's that same type of a thing of, "You're my friend, I'm helping you, I feel safe with you, I feel comfortable with you." Oh, but it turns out you're the person that's been screwing me over.
Mhm.
I would have preferred it to be like that.
Yeah,
So,
I can agree with that. We then had, the main event of the night. It was an eliminator match. Samoa Joe versus Dustin Rhodes. I thought this match was pretty good. Dustin Rhodes bleeding everywhere. Just bloody, violent as you would expect. Samoa Joe wins, and then we get the after match stuff, which Swerve comes out with his chain, beating the crap out of Joe. And the show ends with Swerve standing tall, holding up the AEW World Championship. I know we have another week to go of programming, and we'll be talking about it with our preview show next week. But I think that is foreshadowing of what we're going to see at the end of
oh, I hope
Dynasty
so.
next
I
week. It
hope
feels
so.
like it is Swerve's time. And we'll talk about it more in depth, but I thought it was a strong ending to the show. The people clearly want Swerve. Swerve's ready for it. Yeah, and I thought it was a little preview of what it's going to look like with him holding that big AEW championship belt, Drew. I thought the main event segment, I thought the match was fine. Dustin Rhodes can still have a good match if you put him with the right. Yeah, he can still have a good match. The match was really good. Joe's great. Dustin's still good. The blood was just brutal. I thought it added to the match. And then you get the Swerve stuff at the end. I thought overall, good Dynamite, good main event segment.
Agreed. Yeah, it's again. Did it need to happen? No. Clearly, it was happening for a reason. But the match was fine. Dustin is still actually pretty damn good at this.
Yeah, he is.
And we gotta get the belt on Swerve. We gotta get it on Swerve.
I think we're gonna. All right, let's dive into Collision here. We had Tony Schiavone and Matt.
The reason why I potentially see maybe it doesn't happen, because maybe that's when Hangman comes back.
I think Hangman should come back and fight Swerve for the title, and that should be kind of their last thing for a while. At least that's what I would do. Yeah, I don't think you. To me, the triple threat last pay-per-view was hey, Swerve's not winning it this time, but this is going to set up Swerve winning it. Now, if you were to do, hey, that happened, and now, guess what, guys? Now Swerve has his one-on-one, and now we're going to do the same thing. And he's not going to win, and we're going to set it up for late. To me, that is like, again.
Well, because the reason while I don't want that to happen, it would make sense because Hangman's whole deal was, if I can't have it, you can't.
You can't have it.
So the booking of the triple threat was, I'm tapping out, not because I'm hurting. It's because I see that you're about to get in the ring and break this up, and I don't want you to have this thing. Yeah. So I'm going to end this match so that you can't win it.
Yeah. I understand. To me, you got to strike where the iron's hot, and the iron is hot for Swerve, and you got to give Swerve
I agree with you.
That's where I'm at.
It should be that he just definitively wins.
Listen, I have no problem with Dynasty ending, and we'll obviously next week we're going to preview the whole thing, but like, I have no problem with Dynasty ending with Swerve winning that belt, and as he's celebrating, Hangman shows up and beats the fuck out of Swerve to end that pay-per-view. I'd be okay with that.
That would be my preferred way.
That would be something that I would very much be into, and then I'd be like, oh shit, here we go.
Make him bleed. Probably he'll bleed. I don't know if he'll bleed in the match, but if he doesn't bleed in the match,
I would have no problem with that.
Again.
I would, and I can watch Swerve and Hangman fight all the time. I loved everything they've done, as a lot of us have. I would be legitimately upset, if Hangman were to do that. And I guess that's what they want, right? They kind of want you to feel that way. But like, I don't know. I would feel like you should have gave Swerve the title if they went the other route. But I am more of, let Swerve win, let him have the belt, and then let Hangman come back. And now, all right, you and me, one last time. I'm taking the title from you. I'm going to end you. Let's go. And then they can separate for a little bit until they kind of redo their stuff later on. But we'll see. Either way, I do miss Hangman, though. We had Schiavone and Matt Menard on the call. Love Matt Menard at the desk.
Yeah, this is really good.
It was very good.
Off each other.
Have they always been? They haven't done the two-man thing that much. Was this the first time they were just a two-man?
I think so, for Collision.
Because I thought they were very good together. I thought Schiavone back on the main play-by-play was great, and I thought Matt Menard was excellent. I thought he was really good. There's three of them.
There's three. Yeah, there would be Tony. There would be
was it Nigel?
Nigel and well,
it was Kevin Kelly, but he's not there anymore.
Right. So I think it actually has been two.
I'm getting tired of the costing people the title. That happens too much in AEW. However, if that man is healthy, I would like to see the actual fucking blow-off match between these two guys that it should have happened for the last 2 years. I would be okay with that happening for the title. I would be okay for that happening with the
Yeah, I
title
would.
during Swerve's run. And again, to prolong stories, I get and stuff like that. Like, I'm just getting sick of the let's cost this person the title. Let's cost this. Like, that doesn't have to happen as often as it does. Like, sometimes you just, for me, like, if Swerve doesn't win next Sunday, I think that is a mistake by AEW. I think that
Me
would
too.
be a mistake. Whether there's a good angle that comes out of it, cool, but that would be a mistake. You know what I mean? Um, but I would be more than okay with Swerve winning that title and then ending up with the Hangman stuff, the Keith Lee stuff, if healthy, and stuff like that.
Right.
This is the time. It's Swerve's time. Just do the fucking thing. Not everything has to be, well, let's make it bigger a month from now. No, just do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Sometimes you just got to do it.
Okay, Shia
All right.
LaBeouf.
Yes. Do it. Anyway. So we had a 6-man tag to start the show. It was the House of Black. They defeated Dante Martin, Action Andrade, and Matt Sydal via pinfall. This match was fine. 6-man, House of Black, going to be chaos and some good stuff happening.
And of course, it was announced the reason why it was Matt Sydal and not Darius Martin.
Yes, because go ahead. This was cool.
Darius
He got
is getting his
flight.
pilot's license.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Making,
I could,
the top flight living their gimmick.
they
Love
have to. They have to. He better come out wearing fucking wings, man. That's what I need him to
it.
wear. I need him to wear some wings. Good 6-man to start the show. Exciting, chaotic. It was pretty good. House of Black winning is no surprise. We then had Tony Storm, Mariah May, and Luther. They're all backstage regarding what happened on Dynamite the previous week. And they talked about Tony Storm throwing champagne at Thunder Rosa. They talked about Shirakawa making the save from Mariah May. And then Storm, who was having a match later on in the evening against Azumi. Tony Storm said she'll give her a beating so intense that it would be featured in a periodical. That was the quote. In a periodical. We then have backstage Chris
Eventually,
Jericho.
that gimmick is going to end, but I really don't ever
I
want
mean,
it to.
yeah, do you really need it to end? You could just it's just so good. It's not going to end until it starts not hitting. And I don't know when or if it will ever not hit because it is remarkable. It is remarkable. We see Chris Jericho backstage with Taz, and he asks if Taz could ask Hook to speak with him because Hook is not talking to Jericho. And Taz says he could try, but he says
Hook's
Hook is very he's his own man. He's very unpredictable. I can try though. Okay. We then had Katsuyori Shibata one-on-one with Lee Moriarty. Shane Taylor and Anthony Ogogo was at commentary. Shane Taylor was at ringside for this. This match was, I mean, you said it earlier, Shibata is special. Lee Moriarty is also very good in that ring. This was a good one. This was another good match. Shibata gets the victory. But I thought it was a nice little spot for Moriarty. I'm telling you, the Shane Taylor promotions, I want them to get more members, and I want them to be focal points on the shows. I like them a lot. I like their gimmick. I'm not a huge Ring of Honor guy, but I like from what I saw from the gimmick when it was in Ring of Honor with Shane Taylor. I just like that guy. I like him. I like the group. I would like to see it more, but I thought this match was pretty good, Drew.
Yeah, I agree. Lee Moriarty is excellent. Somebody who a lot wanted to be put in Blackpool Combat Club.
Yes,
I think
he was
Danielson
mentioned in
even
the
referenced him.
him and Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta, who's obviously injured right now. Those were the 3 names that Danielson mentioned in that first promo.
Yeah,
way back when.
So it's so nice to see him getting shine. He didn't win, but I like the whole Shane Taylor Promotions deal right now. They did get the win on Dynamite.
Yes.
So they get wins here and there, but Shibata is. We are blessed. We are blessed to have Shibata, who I was not. I didn't. I knew of him only because of what happened to him. That it's now a blessing for him to even be doing what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
With the head injury that he sustained, or the brain injury. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like life-threatening and career-ending. But just like Adam Copeland, just like Soraya, just like Bryan Danielson, just like Christian in his own right. Thankfully, they still get to do what they love. So, and Shibata's no different. I'm really excited and happy that we get to see him because he's
Yeah.
fast became a favorite of mine
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
because I had only known him from seeing him wrestle in AEW, and now I want to see him wrestling all the time.
I agree. I agree. We then had a couple back-to-back Lexi Nair interviews. She called for a mem. They call it a meme, a minion emergency meeting was what it was referenced as. With Athena and Billy Starks, they cut a little promo talking about the match that was going to happen on Battle of the Belts with Red Velvet. And I believe Athena said that she was going to use Red Velvet as an example or something like that to see what the world's been missing, not seeing Athena wrestle on AEW as much and stuff like that. And then she interviewed the Undisputed Kingdom. And she asked Strong if his success was tied to Wardlow. But Strong was like, no, I've been doing this all on my own. I've earned this, blah, 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 blah. And then he said, I'm going to fight, the Eliminator match later at Battle of the Belt. So not a lot came from these, but they were back-to-back little backstage segments.
Yeah.
We then had Daniel Garcia defeat Angelico, whatever you want to call him, via submission with the heel hook.
Well, Tony Schiavone specifically said on commentary that he is Angelico.
Angelico, and that's how he was announced to the ring. I always thought it was Angelico, but fine. I'm cool with Angelico, so that's what he is from now on, guys. But Daniel Garcia, not a super duper competitive match, but it was a little bit back and forth here. It was a decent match, but Daniel Garcia gets the win. He gets to dance. Everybody loves Daniel Garcia. Cool.
So Daniel Garcia does the thing now where he gets his opponent in the corner and then throws the dance up and his opponent's head, and
it's right in
right in crotch area.
Oh yeah.
And then he does the dance.
He gyrates very close to the opponent's face.
Needless to say, I'm a fan of that. So next, what was next after this?
This wonderful Pac promo. Wonderful. Cuts a promo backstage. He thanked Okada for accepting the challenge. And he also thanked him for whacking him in the head with the chair. He thanked him. He said
he's got a headache now.
He said he has a headache now that he would use it's a lingering headache that he's going to use as motivation for their match at Dynasty. Pac said that Okada was crap, and he promised to prove that he was better than him and take the title off the Okada. But the eyes, the facial expressions, this was a really good promo by Pac. I liked it a lot. It got me excited. That's another guy that's been back. I know he's wrestled a few times, but I want to see him wrestling more. This match with Okada next week should just be incredible.
Yes, it definitely will be.
It's going to be unbelievable, Drew. It's going to be unbelievable. What was unbelievable that I liked a lot was this AEW Women's Eliminator match between Toni Storm and Azumi. This was a very, very good match, back and forth. I loved it. I thought it was I don't know much about this Azumi character. It's spelled AZM, all in capitals, but it's pronounced Azumi. That is how it's pronounced. I don't know much about any of these Stardom girls. I know Stardom's great from the people I trust that tell me it's great, but I don't watch Stardom, so I didn't. Oh, Scott, I'm not saying. Oh, Scott coming in hot, saying that Pac is not in Okada's league. Hey, look at Okada is like, we'll see on Sunday. I bet you that Pac is going to have no problem hanging around with Okada during that match and being in his league during that fight. I get what you're saying. Okada is one of the best wrestlers of all time, and I don't think Pac has done enough to get there yet. But they are two of the best wrestlers in the world. I think that match is going to hump. It's going to hump. But no, I really like this eliminator match. Toni Storm again, excellent. And then afterwards, after the match, her and Mariah May shared some champagne, and Toni was just like kind of just rubbing herself on Mariah May. They didn't kiss or anything, but she was just rubbing herself all over Mariah May.
Feeding into,
Yes.
hopefully, that single white female
Oh, yeah.
thing of,
Because at one point, I think
there's got to be a
Toni
reason for this.
Toni Storm just like she was like rubbing her chin on Mariah May and doing all that, and then she just grabbed Mariah May and just stuffed her in her bosoms. And then when she let go, Mariah May fainted to the ground, like she just fell to the ground and fainted. So that's what. Not saying I wouldn't have the same reaction, but still, she fainted to the ground. So we'll see where that goes. We then had an interview with Red Velvet backstage where she was hyping up that she's going to beat Athena, and that it was a mistake for Athena to come into her house. That's what she said. We then had Mark Briscoe. God, new Ring of Honor World Champion, Mark Briscoe, by the way. Good for him. Good for him. That made me happy. He was cutting a promo where he acknowledged that the House of Black was trying to get an advantage, get into their minds. But he said that Mark Briscoe brings the violence. Samoa Joe, Eddie Kingston, they bring the violence. And that's 3 violent men that House of Black is messing with. And next week, this is another match that should hump this 6-man at Dynasty. They said that next week, 3 violent men are coming to take care of the House of Black. Good little promo by Mark Briscoe. Nothing crazy, but a good little promo. This Collision episode was very promo heavy. Very promo. There were like 7
also
different.
Very women heavy too.
Which I like. Again, not complaining about that at all. But I feel like there were at least like 5 to 7 in-ring, on the stage, or like backstage promo. It was very promo heavy.
And the one that was the biggest one is the one that we're about to talk about
right now. Thunder Rosa. Great promo by Thunder Rosa here. She meets Tony Schiavone on the ramp. She starts it off by thanking the fans and the viewers. And she's like, hey, thank you guys. Like, without you guys, I wouldn't be back here. Without you guys, AEW wouldn't have been able to do the things we've done over the last 5 years. And without you guys, big time wrestlers wouldn't want to be coming here to prove that this is where the best come and wrestle. So I thought that was a good little start, putting the fans over, kind of, rah-rah for the company. And then she said that she said, Deanna, I don't need your help. I've accomplished a lot without your help. And she's achieved everything herself. She also said that a piece of her died when she had to give up the title, when her body gave out on her. A piece of her died, she said. But she promised to do everything. She promised herself to do everything she could to get the title back. And now she has that opportunity next Sunday against, she called her Antonia. That's what she called Toni Storm. Antonia. And she sent a warning. And she said, not only am I going to take that title from you next week, she said, I'm going to take your spirit and I'm going to take your soul straight to hell. And that's how fantastic.
And so tying in what happened on Dynamite.
Yeah, I missed some lines in the middle. But yeah.
What made the champagne segment successful was
because they talked about the makeup.
While she's getting pumped up talking to Antonia, she starts rubbing the makeup that she has on. She's rubbing it all over.
Yeah.
And she's like, you won't like what's underneath this makeup. She was like, oh man, that's really good. So that's that champagne segment worked.
And again, next week we're going to be diving in deeper. But right now, as constituted, a week out, do you think Thunder Rosa has a chance to beat Toni Storm next week? Like, do you think it's a possibility that she actually because she never did lose that title, never lost it. And I know Toni's red hot, and I know she's been a great champion, but I feel like if Thunder Rosa were to win that back, I don't think she's going to. Right now, if I had to guess, I would say no, Toni will retain.
I agree. Yeah.
But if Thunder Rosa were to win, I still think you can just do all the stuff that Toni Storm is doing right now without the belt. The Mariah May stuff, the other stuff. And Thunder Rosa is interesting to me because, like I said, she is someone who she never lost that belt. And if she doesn't get hurt, she probably doesn't lose that belt right away. You know what I mean? Like there was probably a lot of stories that they had planned for Thunder Rosa, and her body gave out on her a little bit. I don't know. I'm not saying I don't think it's going to happen, but that could be the big upset of the night. I think that could be something that could be a big upset of the night. Thunder Rosa kind of getting back that title she never lost. I think it's something that's possible.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, I could see maybe if they do that, they do have Thunder Rosa win. I feel like whoever the person is that defeats her, Mariah May needs to play a role in it somehow. If they do have someone defeat her before breaking up Mariah May and Tony Storm.
mhm.
Um, it's plays on that dynamic between the two of them where, like, right now, they're kind of, like, in love with each other. Not really, but you know what I mean. Like, she's
Yeah.
kissing her and rubbing on her and doing all these things, so if she's the reason why she now loses the title, there's gonna be a rift in that relationship.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't know if it's gonna be Thunder Rosa. I'm guessing probably not, like you.
Yeah.
I think, Tony's gonna retain, but I don't we haven't heard about Jamie Hayter in a long time. I
Mhm.
don't know what her status is.
Yep.
Um, I feel like probably it should be because while Thunder Rosa didn't lose the title, technically,
Mhm.
Jamie Hayter also didn't lose the title, technically.
It's true.
'Cause remember, Thunder Rosa won the title from Tony Storm,
Yep.
but that was because Tony Storm was interim champion. When they were doing that, like, double title deal that they
Mhm.
did with the TNT title and they did with the AEW title. Um, so I feel like really Jamie Hayter can claim never losing the title more than Thunder Rosa has the right to do that, of course. I'm not saying that she doesn't, but
Mhm.
she wasn't the first. Jamie Hayter was the first.
Yep.
So if they're waiting for Jamie Hayter to come in and defeat Tony Storm, I wouldn't hate that at all.
Okay.
I miss Jamie Hayter. I hope she's
I
doing
do too.
well.
I do too. Yeah.
Um, Also, we haven't seen Britt Baker in a while.
Mhm.
Also, there's I mean, obviously, it looks like it's gonna be Mercedes and Julia Hart, but there's Mercedes.
Mhm.
Like, there's a lot of women now in that upper tier who
Yep.
easily could vie for that title.
I agree. I agree. It's wide open, man, because we have another woman that we haven't mentioned yet. Well, we have, but she had a promo right after this, and her name is Deonna Purrazzo, who already had a shot at that title, but she's very much up in the upper echelon of this as well.
Yeah.
She basically cut a promo saying that she understood why Thunder Rosa doesn't need her help. She said that she believes Tony Storm was not fit to be a top champion in AEW, and she said that she would face Mariah May next week, and that she's going to break Mariah May's arm. So, kind of addressing all three of them. Hey, Thunder, I get it. You don't need my help. Fine, whatever.
Remember
Uh,
when this company was only women's feuds for titles, and that was
yeah,
it? Isn't it
mhm.
nice? Isn't it
It
nice
is.
that we've
Yeah, feels
grown?
normal. Yeah, feels good, right?
Yeah.
Multiple layers of titles and stories, mainly stories involving non-title things. That's what you need. You need to treat it with the respect that you do with the men, and they've done a really good job over these last handful of months of like making the women division matter and involving them in more matches per show, more angles per the company. It's really good to see. And like, you just mentioned when Mercedes starts to actually wrestle more or wrestle at all, when Britt Baker comes back, when Jamie Hayter comes back, you add those three to this which Mercedes is already added. I get it. But like you add those three to what they've already built here. Anna Jay just became the first AEW performer to wrestle on all 4 shows in 1 week. She was on all 4 shows. Not wrestle, but she was on all 4 shows. She was on Dynamite. She was on Rampage. She was on Collision. She was on Battle of the Belts. She was on all 4 of them. The only wrestler in the history of the company to have that type of week where she was on every show. So like there's things happening here. And then you know, it's just it's been good to see. You want to talk about good to see, Drew? This main event of Collision last night was a fucking
Oh,
hoot. This was a hoot.
holy crap.
What a time this was, Drew. What a time this was.
Wow. This was one of the
Danielson and
I
Claudio,
will say,
BCC. Yeah.
probably the best main
Unbelievable.
event of Collision since Collision
Unbelievable.
started.
It was so good. It was the BCC, Danielson and Claudio, going against the Don Callis family, who was represented by Powerhouse Hobbs and Kyle Fletcher. Holy moly, man. They brawled all across through the crowd, all over the arena. Claudio was whipping out fucking Hurricane Ranas and shit. Oh my God. They were just holy moly, Drew. This match went everywhere.
Yeah,
And it was a blast, man.
unbelievable.
Oh,
This was I feel confident in saying the best main event of Collision ever. It was
it's got to be in the short discussion of it. That this match was like, I expected the match to be good. Don't get me wrong, but holy moly, I was like halfway through and I was like, this is insane. What's going on right now?
The things that Hobbs was doing to Danielson. I mean, just slamming him down.
Oh yeah,
And then they had that spot where Fletcher, obviously it wasn't working with them. It was kind of working against them,
yeah,
tearing up
yeah,
the
yeah.
the 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 floor
The
area,
floor pads
and
or
it just
whatever.
kept like popping back up.
Yeah,
Um, but they made it work too because Danielson was able to reverse out of it,
yeah, mhm,
and so like playing up that they're focusing too much on trying to make this one thing work,
yeah,
and then Danielson took advantage. Um, just just incredible. This was such a great main event,
yeah.
and
Really good.
it seems that it's technically not over between them yet.
No, well, they gave Claudio the victory because Claudio has a big match coming up on Dynamite, so that made sense that Claudio would get the victory in this match. But then after the match, as Danielson and Claudio are celebrating, we see Konosuke Takeshita. And he comes in the ring and he starts beating down both of them.
Right.
And it turns into the Don Callis family taking out the BCC, which we forgot to even mention this. Well, we mentioned it kind of, but like this Wednesday night, John Moxley is coming back.
That's
He's
right.
been off of AEW
New
television.
IWGP
The new
Heavyweight
IWGP.
Champion.
He won the title against Naito at Windy City Riot on Friday. So it makes sense. Like this match is going to be added to Dynasty. It's going to be the Don Callis family versus the BCC in a 6-man, 100%. Like I'm almost confident that match will be added to Dynasty. It would be a second 6-man though, so maybe not. Maybe they promote it as like a main event for like next, like not this Wednesday's Dynamite, but I don't know, because that would be 2 6-man tags in one pay-per-view, whatever. But Moxley's
I think
coming
they
back
can
to
make it
eat.
work.
I thought they absolutely could. But Moxley's coming back to even up the odds because the show ended with Takeshita, Hobbs, and Fletcher, 3 versus 2, standing tall over the BCC. But on Wednesday, the IWGP champion, John Moxley, one would argue the leader of the BCC, you could argue, is coming back to even up the odds. And I think that there's going to be payback coming for the Don Callis family.
Well, because here's the other thing too. Now I'm wondering if the reason why he didn't come out, I don't know what his status is because he's injured. Wheeler Yuta.
I think he's been banged. He hasn't been around for a while.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, sadly.
He. I was like, oh, is Wheeler Yuta gonna come out to make it, an even 3-on-3?
Yeah.
Then I remembered, oh, but Danielson is not going to be involved in this because he has his match with Osprey.
With Osprey, yeah. Oh, yeah, so they can't even do that. They can't even do a 6-man on Dynasty because he's fighting Osprey. I didn't even...
So if Takeshita got
Maybe you do
involved,
a tag match and... Oh, yeah, or... Yeah. Huh.
Takeshita got involved with both Hobbs and Kyle Fletcher,
Yeah.
you would then assume there needs to be a third person on BCC's side because Danielson is not going to be
Yeah,
a part of that.
I don't know how I forgot that match was
Or
happening, but yeah,
maybe Wheeler Yuta comes
that'd be
back.
nice. That'd be cool.
I would
That'd be
hope
cool.
so because that would be
Mm,
nice. Yeah.
yeah. That would be nice. So we'll have to see how that goes. Yeah, maybe they'll just do a regular tag match, or they will be a return or a special partner or whatnot. But that's how Collision ended. Man, if you did not see that main event last night, go out of your way to watch that main event from Collision last night because that match was awesome. Um, but all in all, I thought Dynamite was pretty solid. I thought last night's Collision was pretty good too. It was promo heavy for me, but I thought it was really good. And that main event was just, man, what a time that was.
Yeah.
Um, and we got this is go home week, Drew. We got Dynamite on Wednesday. We
Big
have
AEW.
3 hours on Saturday
That's right.
with
'Cause
they're, they're doing live
now we have
Rampage after
Rampage.
Collision.
I wish they kind of just did it after Dynamite like they did.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago when they did it after Dynamite, I thought that went really well actually. So maybe this will go really well too. So we got Dynamite on Wednesday, we got 3 hours of AEW on Saturday, and we know that pay-per-view is going for at least 4.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a 10-hour, double-digit hour AEW week. I am not complaining about it. I am not complaining about it. But
WWE had their week last week. This is AEW's week
correct,
coming up. So
correct.
we're gonna have a lot of wrestling, a lot of fun, and what's looking like one of their best pay-per-views of all time
The
already
card is
before
yes,
other
the
things
card is
change.
looking crazy, crazy good. Um, but we'll have to. Next week's going to be a big one. We'll talk about the shows, obviously, but it will probably be more Dynasty centric. We'll be diving into a deep preview of Dynasty. But yeah,
And
it
I
should be
so
a good
like
time.
what we did for Revolution show, I think will be that should be what we do. So next week we're gonna preview Dynasty
Hmm.
by talking about what happened on Dynamite and Collision and Rampage leading up to Dynasty.
Hmm.
Go match for match like we did with Revolution. I thought that would a really cool way of doing it.
Yep.
And then post Dynasty, we'll talk about it in a similar fashion. So we're gonna have a really good next couple of weeks of Firmly AEW. Lots of wrestling to talk about. And hopefully the champion that we all want. We're gonna be talking about how he won and how great that moment was.
Yes. Yes. I think yeah. I think Dynasty, and I think Dynasty is going to be real good next week. I think we're not. There will be people that complain because, as we talked about in the first hour, losers. But I think Dynasty is going to be really good, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to a big week of AEW. Like you said, last week was WWE's big week. This week coming up is a big week for AEW, and I look forward to chatting with you next Sunday. Um, Went a
One
little bit
other thing
overtime
before we
today.
go.
Yeah, well, yeah, before we get out of here, we went a little bit overtime today,
Um,
but I'll let Drew do his one thing and then we'll do our stuff and we'll get out of here.
I want everyone to because now he made it public. So I want everyone to go to our good friend Joe Pearl's Twitter and wish him well because his father unfortunately passed away the other day.
Who is this?
His father,
Wait, who?
Joe Pearl.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
Yes. He put it on his private thing, so I knew about it already. But
Yeah,
he just publicly announced it. He's a wonderful man
he
at
is.
Joe
Joe Pearl,
Pearl
one of my
on
favorites.
Twitter.
One of my favorites. Great man.
Um, yes, and he just lost his father to cancer.
I
So
I lost my father to cancer. So that is I did not know that. I will reach out to him. I did not see or know that. So
yes, we love you, Joel.
yeah, we
We're
love
very
you.
sorry for your
That
loss,
correct.
and he will be in all of our memories, all our hearts, and I hope that my personal condolences, of course, JPJ's Love Wrestling's condolences go out to Joe Pearl and Joe Pearl's family. So
Yeah,
uh, please go
absolutely.
and wish him well.
Absolutely. Joel Pearl, one of the good ones. One of the good ones. On that note, Drew, why don't you let people know where they can find you, what you're doing, and then we will get out of here.
You can find me at the Drew Nicholas on Twitter. I used to call it, and I think I'll continue now calling it, the best and worst place to be. And Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast, Roundtable Network News every Saturday. Links are in my bio. And the Fightful post AEW Collision review show with Rick Icino, Cresta, and Iridian Fierro. Wonderful time. Come and join us every Saturday night. And yeah, and of course here with my buddy JPJ for Firmly AEW. And follow Firmly AEW on Twitter.
Yes, do that. Do that. You can find me at JPJ Loves Gaming on all social media platforms, including Twitch, where we're playing video games 4 or 5 times a week, having some fun over there. Drew just said it, every Sunday morning here with him, Firmly AEW, every Thursday night, 8 p.m., same channel here on YouTube, me and Pluggo, the flagship of LPW. I always say LPW. I love wrestling in LPW, but you know what I mean. The flagship of this joint with Between Two Beards. Next week, Drew, our 150th episode.
That's amazing.
That's
Congratulations.
wild. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? So yeah, we'll be doing that stuff. Appreciate all the love. Like Drew said, go give Joel Pearl some love. Follow Love Wrestling. The links are all in this video. So follow Drew, follow Firmly, follow everything. Appreciate you guys. A little long one today, but next week will be a long one too. And a big one to discuss. But for Drew, for everybody here at Love Wrestling, we appreciate all you guys so much in the chat. Claudio, thank you, my friend. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you all. We wouldn't be able to do this without any of you guys in the chat with your opinions and being here and watching us. So we appreciate you a lot. Drew, I appreciate you too, my friend. Until next week, everybody have a great week. Let's get ready for Dynasty next week. Let's get jacked up. It's pay-per-view week, baby. Some shit is going to go down. Let's have a good time.
Excited.
Drew and I will see you next Sunday. But until then, peace out.